That Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Commissioner Scott Kennedy, and then a roll call. Please stand.
Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day, Lord God. Thank you for all the things you do for us, Lord. We ask that you bless this commission tonight as they make, as they do everything for us in the city, Lord. Bless our first responders, Lord. Thank you for everything you do for us. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson? Here. Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Ferstner?
Here.
All right, we're going to have presentations, proclamations. The proclamations we're going to have tonight is for the Arbor Day, which is posted outside, Water Conservation Month, which is posted outside. And then we're going to take on the selection and appointment of interim District 4 Commissioner, swearing in to follow appointment. All right. You want to, Melanie, you want to, huh?
I'll do it.
Oh,
So, Commissioners, as you know, the District 4 seat was vacated on March 21st. In accordance with the city charter, Section C, 17C, states that if any vacancy other than the office of mayor occurs in the city commission, an eligible person shall be selected by the city commission within 30 days of the vacancy to serve until the successor is elected. 2 residents have shown an interest in filling the vacancy seat for the District 4 Commissioner until the successor is elected at the special election on June 13th, 2023. Those residents have submitted applications that were included in your agenda packet. So now's the time for the City Commission to make a selection as to who will fill that vacant seat.
would either one of the candidates, the 2 candidates, wanted to have 2 minutes to talk? Come on up to we'll give you 2 minutes each one.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. My name is Aegis Hart.
I'm sorry, no, right there where you're at.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Aegis Hart. I'm a resident of Ocoee. I've been here for about 29 years. It'll be 30 years in June. And I'm honored to have the opportunity to try to serve my community. I've been fortunate in Ocoee. I've met my college sweetheart when I was in college on September 4th, 1986 at 4:45 p.m., some things you remember. And after I built my first home, I asked her to marry me. We've raised our 3 beautiful children here, Ashley, Brittany, and Caitlin. I call them my ABC girls. So if you want to know, D stands for done. We're finished. 3 is enough. But we've raised our children here, and we know what it takes for a young family to raise their children in Ocoee. Ocoee is a fabulous place to live. If I had life to do over again, I would marry the same girl, move to the same city, and do the same thing. It's a great place to live, but we have to work together. I'm a pharmacist by trade. I'm also an ordained bishop, and I know the value of unity. If my kidney from an African American can go into a man from Taiwan, then we're brothers and sisters. And we have to see each other as brothers and sisters. Regardless of race, creed, or color, we're brothers and sisters, and if we work together, there's nothing we can't do. The board, the city commission, sets the atmosphere for everything that happens downstream. That's why it's so important for this board to work together. As a pharmacist, when I travel from store to store, you could tell the personality of the leader. The entire team takes on the personality of the leader. So I'm here to try to help bring unity to the city commission, which will in turn bring unity to our city, which will make Ocoee a better place. As dark as Ocoee's past was, it's nothing compared to the future. I'm a forward-looking person. I look forward to a great, great day. I know one day my daughter Caitlin's gonna marry some guy I don't like. And after I pass out and my wife revives me, she'll have a family, and I'll be sitting down by Stark Lake still trying to catch that 10-pound bass. I haven't done it yet, but I'm doing it. And trying to tell them how Ocoee changed and what kind of city we live in. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for our first responders doing a fantastic job keeping us safe. Ocoee is a great place, and I'm willing to serve. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, members of the audience here, esteemed guests. My name's Dr. Jim Moyer. I live in Ocoee. I've only lived in Ocoee for a little over 3 years. So I represent a new person coming into the Ocoee area. We live in District 4. District 4 is expanding and getting new people all the time. I live in Arden Park North, which has about 680 some homes, maybe 2,000 people. I call it the United Nations. I love all my neighbors. They're fantastic. But we're in need of our voice to the newer people being represented here in the city. I commend the great job that the people have been here a long, long time, but I'd like to represent a new voice for the people that are moving in predominantly from out of state. A lot of them from outside the area. I've had the honor during my lifetime to get a good education, to be around diversity of people, to serve on a diversity board in Pennsylvania and also here in the city of Ocoee. I love everyone. And that's what I believe is here in Ocoee, which is why I love the city of Ocoee so much. I've had the honor of serving on several boards, the police board, the fire board, and the Parks and Rec. Thank you so much for your time, and God bless all of you.
Okay, commissioners, we're going to open up for nominations, appointments.
I'll go ahead and say something.
Go ahead.
I think we have two wonderful candidates, two very qualified candidates for this short-term position. Can I make a motion?
Yes, ma'am?
I can, okay. It's a tough situation when we have to sit and face two people that we respect. And, but I would like to, my nomination is for Mr. Aegis Hart.
All right, that motion's made for Mr. Hart. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Kennedy. All right. Before we vote on that, is there anybody else got any nominations? I didn't hear any else, so we'll close it. All right, let's vote. Motion carries unanimous. Mr. Moore, we appreciate it. I know you're active and very active and stay active, and we appreciate that very much. So just don't go away.
No.
I don't think you will. So, Mr. Hart? Yes, sir. We're going to have the swearing in here by the city clerk.
Should we all go down below?
Yeah.
Okay. Go
So
down.
step on up front.
We'll go down below. Well, I was gonna say, so if they want to take pictures, they don't have to have us in the background.
Mic test. Yep. All right, so I'm going to read the oath here. I'll have it available in case you need to see it. Just need you to place your right hand on the Bible. I'm sorry. Hold. Yeah, right. Got this. It's not my first time. All right, so you're going to repeat after me. I, Aegis Hart, do solemnly swear
I, Aegis Hart, do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States of America
that I will support, protect, defend the Constitution and government of the United States of America
and of the state of Florida
and the state of Florida,
and the charter and ordinance of the city of
and
Ocoee,
the charter and ordinance of the city of Ocoee,
that I will bear true faith, loyalty, and allegiance to the same,
and I will bear true faith, loyalty, and allegiance to the same,
that I am entitled to hold the office under the state constitution and the city charter,
that I am entitled to hold the office under the state constitution and city charter,
that I will faithfully perform all duties of the office of Commissioner of the City of Ocoee,
and I will faithfully perform all duties of the office of City of Ocoee.
of Commissioner,
Commissioner of City of Ocoee, excuse me,
which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Come on down for us, take some pictures.
She's smarter and better living than me.
Hey, that's what this is, Nate. Mr. Hart, I've seen your hand shaking. You ain't got to the nerve part yet. Congratulations. Thank you. Mr. Hart.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moyer, thank you so much.
Mr. Moyer.
Oh, my goodness. Sir, thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Give you all the picture.
Okay, thanks.
Did you read the
All right.
agenda? Did you read the agenda?
All right, what we're gonna do now is gonna have the Ocoee Music Festival Chick-fil-A beneficiary check presentation. Parks and Recreation Director Mark Johnson.
Oh, the cow's here.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager. Tonight, we're going to present a check to West Orange Babe Ruth on behalf of Chick-fil-A 5K. I'm going to pass over the honors and let Beth Otts from Chick-fil-A come up here and thank a few people, and we'll take pictures afterwards.
Good evening, everyone. It's my first time in this beautiful building. It's pretty awesome. I just wanted, first of all, just thank everybody that was part of our 11th annual Chick-fil-A 5K with the City of Ocoee and the Kids Fun Run with Fravel Brewer Orthodontics. Our gold sponsor this year was Orlando Health, and our silver was Advent Health, and we had multiple city sponsors that helped us out, local businesses. We couldn't do it without the City of Ocoee partnering with them, and also our police department and fire department always come out and just help us tremendously with this. Actually, Officer Dwayne Hunt sings the national anthem, which is always one of my highlights. We always do this race every year, and it benefits someone in the community, a local nonprofit. Even this is our 11th year. It was West Orange Babe Ruth Little League. We're able to give them tonight $1,180 to help the league. And we hope that'll help some of the kids be able to participate in the Little League. Tonight, I'm honored to have my operators here, Sid and Jeannie Boast. They're who let me do what I do in the community. I just celebrated 17 years with them on staff at Ocoee, the Winter Garden location, and we love what we can do in the community. We love our 5K, so we'll have our 12th 5K next year. Start training now. We'll lace up those shoes. The cow's going to be ready to run. You want to make sure, again, next year it will honor, again, another local nonprofit. So we look forward to you guys coming out. This year we had 295 runners, and that was really good because we had it on spring break week, which we knew we weren't going to have the numbers that we wanted. But guess what? Every year I say 500. 500. If any of you can spread the word, next year, if it's 500 and a 6-month-old, I'll be happy. You can push them in the stroller. We just want to get to that number again. Thank you guys. We love our community. We love being out there. And again, thank you to all the sponsors, all the people who make this happen. The mayor and the commissioners come out and support us. The mayor always starts the race. The commissioners come out and support us with medal giving to the runners. It's an awesome race. If you haven't been there, Google us. Or go on the city website, Fravel Brewer website, or ours. Community event, families. The fun run is free. The kids get to come out. They get a Moodle. Get it, a Moodle. They get a Moodle. They get Chick-fil-A nuggets. The runners get a sandwich. They get a medal. And then we have age group trophies. And they're all local people that are running in this. So we really hope next year that you'll come out and support us. And as I always say, remember, eat more chicken.
Can you come up front? Can you come up front and let's take pictures? Staff, yeah. We'll get out a little bit.
Yeah, we are. Wait. Hi, Jeannie.
Hey, before you guys leave, I want to personally thank you for all the time and effort you guys put in and for Chick-fil-A's efforts. We truly appreciate it here in the city. I know that I love Chick-fil-A, one of my major food places to go, especially when they got peach milkshakes. Make sure you have them this year. But we want, truly, the city really appreciates your efforts and your time putting it into the city. And let's all work the effort to get them 500 people next year, and let's blow that thing out. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
All right, we got recognition of the Ocoee Youth Council for winning the 2022 Youth Council Video Competition. Aaron Russell, Florida League of Cities. Why don't y'all come on up? The Youth Council, come up and stand on the side.
Ooh, look at that trophy.
Where's Liddy?
Oh, let me see. I'll say something real quick. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Congratulations, Commissioner Hart. My name is Erin Russell, and I am the Membership Program Specialist from the Florida League of Cities, which is located in Tallahassee, Florida. And just for the benefit of the audience members who may be unfamiliar with the Florida League of Cities, we have served as the united voice for Florida's 411 cities, towns, and villages since 1922. And our goal is to meet the needs of our cities through advocacy, by providing training and education, financial and insurance services, and of course, always standing up for the rights of the government closest to the people, governments like the city of Ocoee. And I want to say a special thank you to Commissioner Wilson, who sits on the board of directors for the Florida League of Cities. So thank you for your service there. And thank you to the city for being a dedicated member of the Florida League of Cities. But it's my honor to be here tonight to recognize the Ocoee Youth Council, who was selected as a winner in our 2022 video competition. And so for this competition, we asked youth councils to submit a video asking them about a positive, what positive impact have they had on their city government and their residents. So for the competition, they had to submit a video and write a narrative. So I think at this time, we'll go ahead and show you the video before I conclude my remarks. Is this it? Do I control this? Okay.
There you go.
I'm Shay.
Hi, I'm Ed. Hi, I'm Jake.
Hi, I'm Kennedy. Hi, I'm
How do we make it louder?
Morning. My name is Rusty Johnson. I'm mayor of the city of Ocoee. We're here today to introduce you to our youth council with the city. I'm going to introduce you to Dorcas Dillard, who is our coordinator for the youth council.
Thank you so much, Mayor. We are really excited to bring you this video to just give you a glimpse of how our safety signs have made an impact in our community before they were put up and even after they were put up. I'm going to introduce Robert, our social media person, to give you more information.
Hello, I am Robert, the Ocoee Council's amazing social coordinator. And in this video, I'm explaining, or we are explaining, the changes, ways, and effects that our signs have impacted our Ocoee community.
Hi, my name is Ashley. Speeding has affected my life. In February 2022, my older teenager child was actually hit by a car while riding his bike. It was a hit and run. It's affected my son's life definitely in a bad way. He has not ridden his bike since February of this year. The police department was nice to give him a new bike because his bike was damaged in the accident. However, that bike has been sitting in the garage. He's just not been riding it. Actually, in the video, you can see that my son that got hit by the car, he was actually looking both ways, trying to determine a good time to cross the road. The problem was the car was speeding so fast that he looked and looked back and looked this way, and by the time he went to cross, that car was coming so fast they were already coming up on him.
So the most important way that speeding impacts is if you were to get in a collision at a high speed, the chances of you surviving that crash goes down. The higher the speed, the more serious the injuries, and the more damage there can be in a crash. The second way it impacts the community is everybody is upset about speeders. People complain all the time about people driving down their street too fast, potentially hitting their children, hitting their pets. They're worried about speeders. So it causes a quality of life concern for our neighbors. And it's against the law. I think the signs have created an awareness where people are actually seeing the signs and stopping to kind of think about their behavior. There's lots of good comments that you actually see when we post them on social media about people recognizing, maybe I need to slow down, or maybe I need one of those signs for my neighborhood because of the fact that I have speeders in my neighborhood. So I think the signs were a great opportunity to create awareness of speed to those who might not have been paying as much attention as they should have in a neighborhood. But right now, whenever those signs go up on our social media, there's a demand for them. People actually want to see them in their neighborhood. The reality is, when you're speeding, you are not getting there any faster than the car that is obeying the law, because there's other people that now are in front of you, and every time you have to brake or you have to avoid somebody and change a lane, you're now losing any time you might have gotten. I was in my car one day on Clark Road, and I went down Clark Road, and there was a car that came speeding past me. So we get to the red light, and who's the car in front of me? It's the speeder. I'm driving normal speed. We both get to the red light at the same time. He decides to turn down 80 mins, and what does he run into? One of our officers doing radar. So he was stopped at that moment for his speed. But speeding, my point in that story is that speeding didn't get him to that red light any faster than it got me going the normal speed. We both hit the red lights at different times, but we were both stopped waiting to go somewhere after that point.
The Ocoee Youth Council has advocated for positive change in our community and our residents by putting up speed deterrent signs. 2 years ago, the Ocoee Youth Council collaborated with the Ocoee Police Department to put up speed signs to warn our neighbors and our community about the dangers of speeding. Since then, we have received an influx of expression and gratitude because of these signs. The Ocoee Youth Council always advocates for positive change within our community, and one thing that we do to continue this lifelong journey is to collaborate with small businesses and the Ocoee Police Department and the Fire Department. Collaborating with businesses like these will give the Ocoee Youth Council knowledge to help better inform the citizens of Ocoee. And lastly, something that the Ocoee Youth Council suggests that we tell to all our citizens to help learn more and to help our community is to join the Ocoee Youth Council. Especially for teenagers and the youth, it is important to know about the inner workings of your city. As we get older, we realize that the city makes more of an impact on our daily lives than the federal government.
I am Simon Placencia. I am the chief of the Ocoee Police Department. Don't speed. It's better to arrive safe and sound than not arrive at all.
So as you can see from the video, the Ocoee Youth Council recognized an issue and wanted to address it by putting out these speeding signs throughout the neighborhood. And thanks to their effort, now drivers will be reminded to slow down through Ocoee neighborhoods. So this competition is a statewide competition open to all youth councils in the state of Florida. And only 3 youth councils were selected as winners in this competition. So at this time, on behalf of the Florida League of Cities, I want to congratulate the Ocoee Youth Council for being selected as a winner in this competition. They will also receive a check for $250. And so on behalf of the League, I want to say thank you for your service to your community and your hard work. And congratulations. Can't wait to see what comes next.
Everybody come out front where you get pictures.
You guys rather stay up here and just be behind them?
We can. Come back up.
It's such a big group.
Who wants to stand behind them?
Let's do that, that way we can get you all in at once.
All right.
Rosemary, your left side, right?
But yeah, it's better side.
Do we need to get closer together?
I'm so glad you know that, Tim.
Yeah, if you want to step to your right just a little, there you go.
Okay?
You guys are squishing a little there on the left. Okay, you can see me, I can see you. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. We've been at this for 4 years, and every year that we didn't win, I had a bad attitude. So I'm just so excited. I told Erin, every time she said, no, someone else got said, okay, next year. So I appreciate you all did such a great job. And it's been, we started this 2 years ago with, our youth group 2 years ago actually created the sign. So it just shows you how long sometimes it takes to get the recognition. And thank you, Ocoee Police Department, I don't know where she is, but she was here earlier, for helping us with this project right from the beginning.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Okay. Staff reports.
I have nothing for this evening, Mayor.
All right. Public comments. We'll start off with Angel Della Portilla.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Commissioner Hart, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you.
My name is Angel de la Portilla. I'm also a city resident. I live at 205 Calliope Street in the Windsor Landing subdivision in South Ocoee. I've been a resident for 18 years, and I'm speaking tonight as a resident about some things that concern me related to the city's charter. And for the benefit of the public, the charter is sort of the Constitution. It's a series of laws that govern our city. And I happen to also serve on the Orange County Charter Review Commission. I was appointed I'm the Ocoee resident to the Orange County. I've served on that charter for three times. So I read charters and I see things that interest me. So there's three primary areas of concern that I want to raise to the commission as it relates to elections, concerning elections. And these, we just had our election season, and one of them is residency requirements and qualifications of candidates, right? That's number one. Number two is vacancies and special elections. And number three is, it's not in the charter, it's a state law. It deals with the resign to run law. When you're an elected official, if you want to run for another office, the law allows you to resign to run and all that. So I want to get into some of the charter things that I found. Number one is Article 3 of the City Commission portion of the charter. C10 states that the City Commission shall be the judge of the election and qualifications of the candidates. It's not the city attorney, it's not the city clerk, it's not the city manager, it's actually the City Commission. So there's a lot of confusion when you read the charter. There's things related to election in our charter. There's things related to elections in our city code of ordinances. And I would recommend that the City Commission consider Also, let me bring this up as well. The City Commission has the authority vested in the charter to appoint a Charter Review Commission at any time as such deemed necessary by the City Commission. And the Charter Review Commission shall be empowered to conduct a comprehensive study of any or all phases of city government. And number 3, the City Commission shall appropriate funds to defray reasonable expenses of the Charter Review Commission. Now, there's an election coming up in March of 2024. It's a presidential primary election. It's a countywide election. It's actually an election throughout the state of Florida. The legislature will set the date. Actually has already set the date. It's March 19th of 2024. So recommendation is for the City Commission to consider appointing a Charter Review Commission to review the election and other matters in the charter, election laws, and also at the same time is bringing in a special counsel that is board certified in city, county, and local government law. And then with regards to the filling of vacancies, this is one area that has caught my attention. And I've had conversations with the supervisor of elections. I've also had conversations with our city attorney about this. And it's, I think the city attorney cited this provision earlier this evening. It says the successor to the office of the mayor or commissioner shall be elected. This is when filling a vacancy, right? Successor to the office of mayor or commissioner shall be elected at the next general city election if such election is to be held within 12 months of the vacancy. So my question is, if we're going to have, if the county is having an election for the presidential primary on March 19th of 2024, and the vacancy in District 4 occurred on March 21 of 2023, shouldn't that election qualify as 12 months? And the city could basically fill the vacancy at that election instead of having to hold a special election. So those are my comments, Mayor. I'm around to answer any questions if need be. Thank you.
All right. I've got 2 more wanting to talk about the charter review. Do we do that before we discuss it? Yeah, I think so. All right, Brad Lomnett. Then we'll discuss it after we get through with the
Brad Lomnick, Veronica Place. Looks like Angel stole my thunder. I hate it when he takes my homework. Must have left all my notes at Bike Life yesterday. Same thing, right? We've been putting some notes together about what this charter review looks like, and it needs to be done expediently because we have some issues that have popped up. Residency requirements, one of them. It's very important. There's every other city around us has a large time that you have to be in the city before you can run. We don't have that. We don't even know what bona fide means. That's what our charter says. So we really need to do that. And listening to his remarks, I believe he's correct. We should wait till the next national election that rolls around, since it is within the year. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Lomnick. Jason Mellon.
Hi, Jason Mellon, 2137 New Victor Road. I'm echoing their comments. I mean, we need a charter review. I think we need one sooner than later. I also feel the exact same as Angel mentioned, and we probably need to wait or review this, for the March 2024 election. So I really got nothing else to say, but.
All right, thank you. All right, before I do the political forum discussion, we're going to go ahead and discuss this issue, and then we'll get to you young ladies. All right, commissioners, comments.
Well, I guess since I'm the new kid on the block, I'll go ahead and get started.
Okay.
With the change that's going on in Ocoee and the growth potential that's in this city, I'm very concerned, as the residents have stated, that an outside interest can send in a candidate funded by someone else with outside interest that doesn't represent the city of Ocoee. It's kind of like when you marry into a family. You got to be there for a while. You can't just get in the family and sit at the head table. I think the person should be in the city for a period of time. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. The wheel's already been invented. Cities our size should do the same thing. We're in a unique section of the state. the Turnpike, 429, all intersect right here. We still have land. So I know a lot of people would love to do certain things in the city, and I don't want someone coming from the outside. I bought my family a home I plan to retire in and pass it to my kids. I want to protect the value of my home, and protect the value of my city. I need somebody who lives here that has the same values if they're going to sit on this board. Thank you.
What's your view on the, having it?
I think we need to do it, tomorrow's good.
I missed that.
Yeah, I think we need to do a review right away.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make any comment about the election because that's part of me, and I don't want to seem biased.
Right.
Yeah.
You still get to vote later.
Mm-hmm.
You got to vote now.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Wilson.
Well, yes, they stole my thunder because I was going to talk about this at the end. I'll save the other parts for later. But what I want to see us have, after all the issues that we've had, is a charter review with a charter review commission, with a facilitator or an election attorney that would be able, who is qualified in municipal election. There's so many areas that we didn't address in the last charter review. We had a great charter review group, I'm not complaining. But if you just notice, there's little things that even have to be tweaked, because we have to stop a meeting at 7 o'clock to have the commission, if we're going to put anyone's new on the commission, and then if we would have to come back to the meeting at 7:15 after it's over, because our meetings used to start at 7:15. So we would have to do our oath at 7 o'clock. Now we start at 6:15. I mean, there's little things that you have to catch that should have been caught, but they weren't, and that happens. But we need to have a facilitator who is qualified in municipal election policy and qualified to advise the necessary things that we need to change in our charter. We learned this last time, and I think we should go ahead. I feel, after everyone speaks, I have no problem making a motion to establish our charter review and charter review commission, and to hire a facilitator.
All right, so before we make that motion, can I
Yeah.
finish up?
Oh, sure, no, I'm just saying.
Commissioner Person?
Yeah, that's me.
Been a long time since I've seen you.
No, I agree. We need a comprehensive review of the charter, but mainly on the election section, because we found this last time a lot of discrepancies in there. I think it should be done right away. We should form a commission and get a facilitator that's qualified. And I'm also in agreement with waiting until the next regional elections rather than having a special election. If the charter allows us, that's the smart thing to do.
All right, thank you, sir. I'll make mine. Go ahead, Commissioner Kennedy.
The expediting the charter review absolutely has to be done. I believe we do need to better define the residency, and I think we also need to better define this vacancy question. I agree, the plain reading says wait till the next general election if it's within 12 months. I'm shocked. I would support that, absolutely. There's been a lot of comments about why is the city spending money to hold a special election. Mr. De La Portilla didn't get into it, but he mentioned the resigned to run. I was vice chair of planning and zoning. I resigned, I believe, January 28th, or whenever I filed qualifying papers, and my position was filled, I believe, prior to the election. So without expressing a bias, I was frankly amazed at the process, and I think it makes sense to have an outside specialist look at it, and I would support that. I would make or second Commissioner Wilson's motion.
All right, before we get into that, I'll make a few comments. Back 7 years ago, when I run for mayor, I had to resign before, and they put my slot up on the commission at the election time, not put it off till 90 days later. I had to resign ahead of time, which that was the same charter thing. So my position is it should have been the same way. How that happened, I don't know. They didn't ask me. So I think there was a mess up there. I don't understand why. But I believe in the, first of all, the charter review is a mess. I don't know how that got by. we were all sitting here, most of us, so it got by. But it's ridiculous when you can move into town tonight and tomorrow morning you can come sign up to run for office in this city. There's something wrong with that system, and we gotta change it. And believe me, that happens, because there was a couple of them run this time that hadn't lived here. And I believe there's gotta be some kind of limit. If you check all the other cities, I think Winter Garden is 1 year, and that's kind of reasonable. But and the cost, I heard somebody told me it was $8,000, $10,000. I think it's gonna be more than that when you get through with that. Is that what the price is?
It says 10,000.
It says 10,000.
I think 10,000. We're talking about spending another $10,000 to get through this next election again. And it's 10 months, and it's within the 12-month period. And I don't care who it is, what it is, I think there was a mistake made, and I'm not saying who made that mistake, but I believe if we honestly can push that thing to March 2024, and that gives us 10 months of abilities there. So if you make that motion, you didn't put,
But one question for the attorney, Mayor, before we go any further. The current charter says that it has to be advertised, was it so many months before the election? So what's our time frame?
well, you got 10 months.
Is it, I just wanted to, in order to go on the charter, in order to go on. the
Oh,
ballot,
for
you
a charter amendment.
Right, you have
Oh,
to-
you know, from charter. You're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah, I
about
mean-
charter amendment, okay.
I'm just saying, if you want to put on the 24 election, what does the current charter say about, I thought there was a time frame. We had to have everything a certain amount of time before.
There is a time, Melanie, do you know what the time frame is for that?
Yes, I have it here.
Should we make two separate motions, separate the
yeah.
two issues?
We will, yeah.
So the final report and ordinance must be adopted by the city commission at least 90 days prior to the election.
So that you can you could go ahead and make a committee.
Correct. So you will create, the commission can call to have the charter review board meet sooner. The city commission will, once the charter review board meets, they're going to transmit a proposed report to the city commission, and the commission would have within 45 days of receipt of that charter amendment, the commission has to review it and provide comments.
All right, I want to ask, where did Angel, Mr. Delaporte, you read that out of the charter a while ago, right? Could you read that part again?
And what's the,
What I read was the vacancy. It says here, it's C-17 of Article 3, C-17, the successor to the office of mayor or commissioner shall be elected at the next general city election if such election is to be held within 12 months of the vacancy.
Okay.
And the dates are March 19th, 2024.
Okay, you're right, thank you.
Now, regarding a charter, if you're going to appoint a charter commission, that charter commission could work through for several months reviewing the
Yeah.
charter with the facilitator and then come in with the recommendations and put those on the ballot.
All right, well, what I would suggest we do, we address the charter review first. And Commissioner Wilson made a motion to do that. And you going to second it, Commissioner Kennedy?
yes, sir.
With a
So
facilitator.
we'll address the other issue after that. Anybody else got comments to that?
No.
All right, no more comments, let's vote on that.
Yes,
I'm sorry, hold on one moment.
What?
Can we reset and then I'll hit start? Go ahead.
Reset?
Reset, where's that?
All right,
Now you can vote.
ready?
Okay.
Motion carries unanimously, so can you come back with what the requirements are to do at the next meeting? We can pick the people for that committee and look into.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the attorney. All right? All right, now, the motion to make the election March 2024, March the 19th.
That would mean that, if I'm correct, Angel, that we would have to have this by 90 days prior, so it's about December of '23, that it would have to be presented. You said it has, what, our charter?
The charter.
Right, but the current charter says 3 months, right? Prior to?
Right.
So that would bring us to December, and then October would be about when it would have to be the 45 days that they give us to work, correct? I'm just using some general.
Yeah, I mean, you could appoint the Charter Commission as soon as possible to get to work on it, which would be in plenty of time for the next election.
Okay.
All right. Now, we need a motion for that.
But I want to make a comment on that. I know it's the consensus of the city commission to not do the special election. I honestly, we've looked at this. The language in the city charter is if there is a city election within 12 months, then you can hold it. This March election is not a city election. Our next city election is not until 2025. And per the terms of our charter, we have an obligation to hold a special election in this circumstance. And that's been my opinion. I know Angel doesn't agree with it, but maybe some of you don't agree with it. And it's unfortunate that there's a disagreement on this, but it's my interpretation, my reading of the charter, that we have to hold the special election as originally scheduled. Second, I do want to point out that this item wasn't on the agenda. It's not something the public is aware of. I think it'd be improper to make a motion to change a special election at an unadvertised city commission meeting. So that kind of, apart from ignoring my opinion on it, I think it would be improper for the city commission to change the date of the special election to next March solely because we haven't had an agenda item or discussion from the public on it.
I wasn't under the understanding that we were going to change this special election coming up. I wasn't aware of anything like that. My concern was, on that previous motion, is to start a charter review and a facilitator.
Right. We're having, I think we've covered that. We've agreed.
That's okay.
City commission, yes, absolutely, 100%. I think the second discussion, though, is changing the special election, which is in another couple of months, and moving that to March.
My thought here was, I'm sorry, Mayor, can I speak?
Go ahead.
I just go. I wasn't looking to change any special election. My understanding was that we were talking about putting the charter review items on the March 19th, 24 ballot.
Absolutely.
It was not to change any of the special elections. We can't change those until the charter's changed. We can't make any adjustments to the current charter until it's changed. But right now, we have to abide by it. But when I thought we were heading towards the direction of when we could put the charter review items on a ballot. Are we wrong?
No, absolutely, we can. We can do the charter review items. We can amend the charter at the March election.
Okay.
There's plenty of time to form a charter review commission, plenty of time to advertise it, plenty of time to put that before the electors of the city for changes to the charter. That's issue number one. Issue number two was whether we can hold this special election for Commissioner or District 4 in March rather than this year.
Oh, that was never my
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's something I'm not even thinking about, because we have to abide by the charter as it is. And as I used to say, live by the charter,
Die by the charter.
die by the charter. But when the changes are made, if the public residents decide they want to make the changes, they can do that in the March of 24.
Absolutely.
But we can't change anything right now. I mean, we're not in that position. I'm sorry, I think I was misunderstanding you.
There's a misinterpretation of what that is. So that's
Okay.
what we're-
Not everyone agrees that our charter,
Let me finish.
go ahead.
First of all, it should have never been done that way. When somebody had a meeting separately from doing everything and coming up to us, it was done separately through the same person talking to the other person that was involved. Commissioner Kennedy.
I I take with good humor the city attorney's point about the agenda, since I'm probably the largest advocate for things being on the agenda. I'd like to put it on the agenda. Let's put it on the May 2nd agenda and advertise it. Also, I know I have a history of it. I'm a big believer in the plain reading. And Commissioner Wilson, you're correct. We can't change the charter, but it clearly says in the next general city election. And our city attorney has said it's his interpretation that that is not March 2024. With respect, the charter language is convoluted, and it's unfortunate maybe that it has to be interpreted to such a degree that citizens simply, as a citizen, I should be able to read the charter and rely on it in the plain reading, and I do. And so I don't know what the solution is. Maybe staff could get, I don't see a clear definition of the next general city election. I think I know what that means. I think March 2024 primary would be sufficient to me. That's my interpretation. I'm not a lawyer. Maybe you're talking about getting a special counsel for the charter review. Maybe we could get their opinion or get some due diligence on what this means and vote on it at the May 2nd. I'd be all for putting that on the agenda.
Voting on what? I'm confused.
Well, we have an opinion from our city attorney that the words general city election mean something different than the plain reading of those words. And he said, his own words, he said it's his interpretation.
Wait, my interpretation of the charter is that the next general city election is not until 2025.
Yes, I got that.
Okay.
I'm with you. So it says, if a general city election will not be held within 12 months,
Right.
the successor shall be elected at a special election. And so your interpretation is we have to have a special election per the language of the charter. I think that's an open question, and I would personally I like to know if there's somewhere I can read about it. I use that phrase a lot as a CPA. I respect your opinion and interpretation, but I'd like to see more definition of why isn't the March 2024 the general city election? I think it is. I think most people would think it was. And we're going to waste a lot of money, and I'm not in support of that. So what can we do to put some meat on the bone here and get a broader, deeper opinion?
Well, that would mean we'd have to go out and get somebody that deals with the charter. Do you ask that through the state? Do you ask that through the?
We're already talking about getting somebody to serve on the charter review board that's an expert in charters. Ask that person for an opinion.
I've read the charter numerous times, and I guess when I look at municipal election, that's what puzzles me, is the March 19th is not a municipal election.
It doesn't say that. I'm reading. I read it word for
That's
word.
filling a vacancy. I'm talking about the charter, when you can present from the charter, not the filling the vacancy.
We're talking about filling the vacancy. Do we?
No, we're not talking about filling, we're talking about.
Yeah, we are.
Yes, we are. We're talking about, does the charter require us to have a special election? And the plain reading says if a general city election is held within 12 months, we don't have to have a special election. The city attorney's interpretation and an opinion is that the March 2024 election isn't a general city election. Is it a citywide election? It's a presidential primary? It's a city election to me. It's right there.
Will not be held within 12 months. The successor, I'm still back on charter. Can we do a charter review?
Yes, we passed
On
that.
March 19th, because it's not a municipal.
Let's find out by hiring somebody to tell us.
That's,
We got 2 weeks to find out.
okay.
Let's put it, I respect, let's put it on the agenda. Let's let people speak about it. If the public supports it and it's that vague and it's an interpretation, I think I've read the charter. It says that the ultimate arbiter of these questions of whether candidates are qualified, et cetera, is the commission, and I'd be prepared to vote on it.
So what you're suggesting is we hire somebody to give us an outside opinion on the charter of what that?
Yeah, the person that's going to be the person that's going to advise us on the charter review. Let's go ahead and we know we voted to expedite the charter review, and we agreed that we need somebody specialized in municipal charters to assist us with that. Let's have staff go ahead and find that person and get some detail on what a general city election means.
Rob, can you do that?
So, yeah, we can. We could reach out and possibly find someone who's versed in city charters and municipal law for a second opinion. Now, if you want to use that same person, that would be up to you. But I think the first one would be someone that staff picked, and if you wanted to continue with that person for the charter review, that would be fine. But if you wanted to use someone else, that would be up to the commission also.
We just need a legal professional.
Understand.
To use that charter. We can't come together on what it is.
I want something other than any one person's interpretation.
Well, I don't know what happened when I run, because they sure didn't. They sure decided to do that other way when I run. They took me right out, made me resign. There wasn't no weight. But I think, Rob, if it's a consent,
Yeah.
to do that, Rob.
I defer to the city attorney. Scott, do you think they should have a vote on putting that on there, or should they a consensus?
Yeah, I think consensus to put it on the agenda and direction to city staff. I would say it may be that the qualified person for the charter review may not be the same person to make an interpretation on the election. You're probably looking at an attorney that specializes in elections for the election question, and maybe someone different for the charter.
I'm all in favor of getting answers.
And the charter one doesn't even have to be an attorney. That's generally just, there are people that facilitate charter reviews, so that could be any number of people.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, consensus is that, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we don't need to vote on that we got a consensus and have it for the next meeting. May the 2nd?
Yeah, we'll have a formal agenda item with this, and we'll get someone in here so you can discuss it.
All right, so that takes care of the Charter Revision Committee. So you'll bring us what we have to do, Melanie, at the next meeting also. All right. I have Patty
Leroy.
Leroy. Come on down. Can you make it? You want to skip them? I thought you fell asleep.
I will see you in May,
Okay.
or probably.
Oh, okay.
Won't be.
Right. All right.
It'll be over.
Okay.
If not, we'll see you in February.
You want to go to
I'm still in May. Yeah, you're still
They just, all right, so you're saying you'll see us May the 2nd?
in May.
You're going to bring your esteemed staff with you?
Of course.
Okay.
We
All
won't
right.
have anywhere without him.
Oh, okay.
Notice
All right.
he got here before I did, but that's okay.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Patty, I have you down, Patty, I had you down twice? Yeah. All right. Huh?
Brad.
You got to fill another form out?
Should have it on file by then.
Oh, we got a book.
Brad Lomneck, Veronica Place. If your intention is to bring that back up on May 2nd about the question of the question Scott Kennedy brought up, how does that affect qualifications on Friday? I think if you're going to wait till May 2nd, we should probably suspend qualification.
No, you can still go ahead and qualify.
Yeah.
I don't see what would be.
Cancel the special election.
You're spending money on qualification.
Well, you don't.
What mean?
Well, the candidates are first and foremost, and
Yeah.
and so is the city. So I would ask that you would suspend qualification if you're going to wait on a question.
We'd have to change it a week.
Well, I think if you suspend qualification, and Melanie or Scott could perhaps speak
Yeah,
to
we
this.
have
then
timing requirements on the qualification.
That would change the
Before
election.
the election.
Right, if it were to go.
I'm not sure where we fit if we,
Qualifying was 45 days,
before the election.
and everything's been advertised.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should go forward with the qualification, even if the city commission determines to cancel the special election and move it to March.
Me and Melanie had a brief discussion after the consensus, Scott, and we probably want to put together some type of announcement or something we can give with the package to say that it's contested at this point, and we'll know on the 2nd or the 3rd.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
All right, so go ahead, they can go ahead and sign up. Notify them, though, of what's going on, I guess. All right, so the, Mr. Moyer. Three minutes.
Jim Moyer, Arden Park. First of all, congratulations, Commissioner Hart.
Thank you.
You have it? My apologies. Jim Moyer, Arden Park. Congratulations to Commissioner Hart.
Thank you.
I have a recent doctorate in organizational leadership, but I am an auditor and an accountant by profession. So I'm proposing to the city that they create an internal audit function, reporting to the mayor and commission. Now, maybe no one on the dais agrees with me, but the discussion that just took place, in my personal view, supports having an internal audit function. It helps prevent things falling from the cracks. And there is a precedent. The federal government has audit function reporting to the legislature. The state of Florida has it, and several cities within the state of Florida have internal audit functions reporting to the mayor and commission. Why? Population growth, and it would give the citizens and the commission that are at the top of the organizational chart that I've seen, detailed assurances that everything is okay. It identifies financial and operational risks, and it will help future elected officials and key personnel. Of course, the city commission budget would increase, but there would be financial and operational benefits, and it's quite possible that the annual comprehensive financial report cost would decrease if the internal auditors were assigned by the commission to assist with the annual audit. Of course, the mayor and commissioner would have to decide the potential benefits, but it would be open to any assignment, and they could go out and solicit opinions on anything, even legal matters, several legal opinions. Here's a couple examples of internal audit reports. One right here in Orlando. My consideration, establish a board to recommend whether or not there should be an internal audit function, decide upon the budget increase. Thank you very much for your consideration. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. All right, consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Who seconded it? Commissioner Hill.
Mr. Hart.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Varsner, seconded by Commissioner Dillard. Any more comments? No comments, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, before we get into the first reading of ordinances, I want to, while everybody's here, I want to read off some stuff and say a couple of things. One of the first things I want to talk about is about Rant Ray's thing I got here. And I can understand, in Westmere subdivision, we approved, I was told the city approved 443 trees to be cut out. Now, before that happens, I'd kind of like to see if we can have a meeting with the homeowner association again and go over that before we cut them all down. And the reason was, and when I was campaigning, one of the things brought up was because the city said it is some of the cause of lines breaking in the middle of the street. That might be, but we also are the ones that told them to plant those trees, when they put them in. And I had a lady tell me today that it's like the value of a tree is either $30,000 per tree, and I know you live in there, Commissioner. I don't know, you can make comments on it in a minute, but they've been calling me, so think about that. 443 trees they're going to cut out, and we're approving it without having the voice of the citizens, just the homeowner association. So I would like to make sure we sit down with our staff, with the homeowner association, and invite the citizens to that homeowner association meeting to go over this again. And I get along great with homeowner association. I meet with them, but this is something I think we need to look at, because if it's in that right of way out by the sidewalk and there's no trees, and they're paying their own sidewalk, if it pops up the sidewalks where we got a problem with, they pay it because they're a private community. So it's not costing us, it's costing them. And they're willing to pay that. They signed that inclusion in there that they would do that. So before we pull that permit and give it to them, I'd say we sit down and have a meeting with the homeowner association and the citizens and publicize it. Does anybody want to make comments on that?
I can make a comment on that, Mayor, because I think we did the same thing with Weston Bay, if you remember, several years ago, and the same thing was happening. It was damage to the sidewalks, and we approved it because we had originally, during development, required those. It was creating a lot of problems. We approved them to take them out, and I don't know if it wasn't well publicized with the HOA, but they came back and they were angry at the city for some of that afterwards too. So it would be best to have that meeting, I think, is my point.
I think we need to have that meeting, because I don't want to be the one that, they're already calling me, and I don't have a problem. I talk to them all the time, but I do honestly believe there's a reason why we don't cut down 443 trees. I was told that oxygen comes out of trees too. I'm not a environmentalist person, but not knowledgeable.
And I'm assuming these are all in the right-of-way, Mayor, do you know?
Some of them, they're in people's yards in this section.
Yeah,
where they
because
live in the things.
the legislature-
In the right of way.
Right.
But they signed a thing that says if it causes a problem with the sidewalk, they'll pay for it.
Yeah, and the legislature's tied our hands for forbidding
I know.
trees to be cut down a lot too. I think we have more control over the ones in the right-of-way
No.
because that's our property, but not so much
Asking
for
the
anything
consensus of
else.
the commission that we have a meeting with our staff, with that homeowner association, before we do that.
Who pulled the permit?
Now,
Who's pulling the permit? I'm sorry.
The homeowner association. Now, Mr. Firstner lives in that district, and I'm not trying to override him, but I'm the one getting the calls and telling me, and it was, then I get it today, this comes out and goes in there, and I don't know if you all, I don't read Rant and Race because my wife won't let me. So, and that's the truth. But they want to know, can anyone suggest arborists who will help mature communities adapt to their growth tree canopy? So, I mean, they're asking questions I think we need to ask. So, Commissioner Firstner?
I agree with you 100%, and I was going to bring that up if you didn't. We're at odds with our homeowners association in Westmere right now. It seems that they're dictating to the homeowners that you will do this voluntarily, but you will do this. And the homeowners are saying, no, we're not going to. It's a beautiful community.
Yes.
Very well treed, very shady. I mean, we love the trees in our neighborhood, and we don't want to get rid of them. Yes, it's popped up. It's in, the ones they're talking about are the ones that are in the band between the street and the sidewalk. Yes, they are popping up the sidewalk sections and everything, but it's the homeowner's responsibility where that's happening. I've had to replace 4 or 5 of those panels myself at my cost. No problem. I don't want to cut down the 3, 4 trees that I have in my yard. They're beautiful. But we're having a real problem where the association is dictating to us, and we don't particularly agree with them, and we don't particularly want to, follow through and cut all these trees down. We would welcome the city to at least facilitate a meeting between the homeowners and the HOA board itself and come to some kind of agreement, because the homeowners have come out with a lot of research on their own saying only certain types of trees will live a short period of time, and yes, they can be taken out, but the other oak trees that are in there are long-lived, and we don't particularly want to cut them down in their prime. We want them to mature to full, full stage. But yes, I would welcome that, and I'll help you out any way I can with the association.
All right. Is it okay consensus with everybody, or do we need to vote on that?
Yeah.
I know you're a homeowner president.
Yeah, I have a comment, if you don't mind. As a HOA president who sat and watched the Weston Bay episode, I have a gated community. We have trees. Trees break up the sidewalks. And I think my HOA spent $75,000 last year fixing sidewalks. That's the responsibility of an HOA. If you don't want it, don't move in one. It's a free country. And historically, every time I've asked for the city to get involved in an HOA matter, the city policy has been they don't get involved in what goes on inside the gates. I think it's a nice gesture to have someone, city staff, I don't know if we still have an arborist or not,
I didn't say an arborist.
but somebody to help facilitate a meeting.
Yeah.
But if you have an HOA and a board that needs help talking to their residents, what you need is a recall of your board. And that's not a city matter, but I don't have any problem with somebody from the city maybe trying to assist them.
Well, it does become a city matter when you got to go into it, when they pop the pipes, break the pipes. That becomes a city matter, so we are involved in it where we want to be or not. I'm not saying this might not happen, but what I'm saying is, before it happens, us issuing 443 permits, I want to see and hear what their thought process is.
I would agree with that. I would have consensus that the city shouldn't blanket issue 443 permits.
If your sidewalk breaks, your homeowner pays for it?
My association pays.
See, yours does, but they put in theirs, they pay for it, not the homeowner association.
The sidewalks, they need an association attorney. Sidewalks belong to the association, they're common area.
I know.
Everybody owns them.
But they're,
It is, but it's the homeowner's responsibility in Westmere to replace the ones that are
I don't think
damaged.
that's enforceable.
And they don't give us any credit either. They say, no, that's a homeowners association cost. Well, the homeowners cost is funded by the homeowners.
Yeah.
We pay our association fees, so we're paying for everything regardless of whose responsibility it is.
I'll read you just a real quick statement, and then we're going to move on, because in our documents, we are responsible for maintaining these trees, but technically, they belong to the association. Our documents also state that we are personally responsible for our sidewalks. So that's all I'm saying is, So consensus is we can do that, so we'll work with staff.
I agree with that.
And tell them that. If it don't come to be, then it's not. Okay, so set that, Rob. Now,
Yes. If you just, I don't know if we want to, where we want to have this. There's going to be, Mayor, if you're going to be there, and Commissioner Firstner, we'd have to have it
I know you
somewhere
gotta post it.
and posted and somewhere that's not behind a gate.
all right,
Keep
is
that in
the- is the lady here that puts the stuff on the, that was here a while ago, that puts this up on the, shows it?
That's Melanie
Huh?
takes care of that.
Where'd she go?
Projector?
I've got one more thing I want to show. Yeah. I don't want everybody to get all upset, but I want to show one more thing. Don't get upset for when I say this.
Maribel.
I get my ears full, and I'm going to bring it up from now on, so. My job, and I'll tell you this before this shows us, my job, and my responsibilities, is the way I look at it, is to answer to citizens. To the citizens of Ocoee who are the ones that vote and put us into office. And we also sit down and we do things and say things we're going to do. And I keep getting asked this question. I don't know about the rest of them. During the election, I get it every time. 7 years ago, I got it. I just got through another election, I got it. If you can read that paper up there, Oakland Avenue was one of the things we did when we put out a $42 million bond to redo the downtown. That's 7 years ago, 7 years. Oakland Avenue was one of the main things that we voted on to do, and today we still don't do it. And one of the reasons, and I've heard, first reasons I heard was the railroad tracks. Now, this is 7 years we've been working to get that road fixed, which is, if you see the pictures, it's a beautiful picture. 7 years working on that road. I asked about it, and what I get told is, we're waiting on the railroad. Well, the railroad's fixed, it's been fixed. Now, when I asked, I'm told we're waiting on St. John's water management. So there again, we've got to come to a conclusion of getting things done that we put into the budgets and we put in, and there's no sense in, and I'm not trying to rip on anybody. Our staff's great, our staff works. But when you propose something to citizens, and we had a big gathering of all the citizens for fixing our downtown. This we did. We did the road. The major item on that issue is that road over here, Oakland Avenue, with fixing that road and putting it where we could make it a nicer section with a divided road with a track, with a trail down the middle. We have not got there. I just wanted, and you can bring that back, that 7 years. And when I asked, Steve, you can come up, Steve, because I got another one I'm going to do. When I ask questions about it, and I'm the mayor, and they, well, you're supposed to talk to citizens. No, the citizens wants to talk to me, and they ask me, why are we not doing that stuff? In my job, I got reelected for 4 years, and I'll be done. I'm going to do those things they're asking me about. So I'm going to find out why we're not doing them, and why we sit up here, we make the motion to do it. 7 years, and we have not done that road. Now we're sitting there with that railroad track, with that road closed again. Again, it's been closed a year. Going on close to a year. We got the railroad fixed. Now it's St. John's water management. So I don't understand that, but I want to somehow or other get answers. Now the other one is, I'm going to bring this up too, Steve, and I told you today, paving. September, we approved the money for paving. We approved the money in September. That's 8 months ago. 8 months ago, we approved the money to do the paving. All right, the answer came back, we underestimated the paving's costing more. Well, we have not paved one street. Not one street have we paved. Well, if we have the money set aside to pave, why did we not go ahead and pave the streets? I mean, here it is May, so it's just 8 months. Some of the budget, we set in that budget, and I remember specifically talking about the areas we were going to pave. Flo Ellen Drive and Adair Street and Russell Drive are the worst roads in Ocoee. And I have to answer to them, and I don't know about the rest of them sitting up here. I got to answer to people, and I'm telling you, it's an embarrassment not to do that. So you just put in a month ago for the paving, starting paving contracts, right?
We actually bid the contracts earlier in the year. We got 2 bids back. They were $1 million over our estimate, and we're looking to start, the contractor's ready to start in May to do the work.
Steve, if the money we approved was spent, would have done the paving. We could have started the paving. We'd had us as commissioners come back to us and say, hey, we're short this amount of money. We've got to do this and raise this money to get the other paving done. But there is areas in town that should have been paved. You know, we just keep using, not just you, I'm not just blaming you, but there's excuses that, just like the road across here, you know,
That's also one of my
passed
projects.
a budget in September. We are told by the state we have to get it done and start October the 1st on our budget. But we still do not do that. You know, I'm just, people call me and I get calls every day. And first thing out of their mouth is about this street over here. It's a beautiful picture, but we bonded the money to do that. We never did it. You know, there's always a reason. So, that's my kick. I'm sorry, but I figured I'm getting started off again, so I'm gonna, you know, might as well tell it. And like I said, our staff's some of the best people in the world. But when we tell people, the citizens, we're gonna do that, we need to do it. I mean, that's, you know, we got problems and stuff, and we don't follow through, you know, and I don't want anybody to get their feelings hurt. But I'm telling you, I'm embarrassed when you take this thing here 7 years and we use 2 different excuses and we're 7 years down the road and it ain't done yet. And it won't get done because you know and I know when I asked about it, well, we're doing, oh, there's one more, Clark Road.
Yeah.
How long have we been talking about that? I heard a year ago it was 90% plans were thing. They still ain't doing anything. Now, I was told there, St. John's Water Management. So I know Rob's gonna make some comments, but I'm just telling you, and I'm not against it, but I'm telling you that stuff, somebody's gotta get it started and get these things done. So.
Mayor, I had
No, that-
one quick comment. It was basically on Clark Road. We all kind of made the decision together to get Lennar to do that because, you know, they came in here and they assured us they could get it done a lot quicker than we could. And I think what that goes to prove is they're running into the same type of issues that we typically run into with the water management district, with suppliers and costs and things like that. But we've had minimum involvement in that. That's a project from design to construction has been Lennar. We've been kind of nipping at the heels. So I don't know how much more we can do to move that forward. We keep on top of them. We get updates from them. So, you know, I understand some of the other things. We did have a couple of years of COVID. The flyer you put up there was the kickoff meeting for the design, so the design took a while. And then it took us about the better part of a year after that to get the bond proceeds, so before we could even do any bidding on those projects too. So it sounds like a long time. I get it. I get the frustration some people have, but there was easily with COVID and getting the bond 3 to 4 at least of those years that not too much was happening.
All right.
But just to give explanation,
I know.
you know, we can take criticism
How
where
about
it's
doing me
due.
a favor, let's get Oakland started. At least
Yeah.
dig the thing
Right.
up. Let's
We
start.
just had, you know, the COVID thing kind of threw us for a blow. And I think what we're seeing now is with these 9 and 10% inflations, we bumped up the paving a lot last year. And when the first estimates came in January, we were surprised it was basically $1 million more than we had.
I want to mention COVID too.
Okay.
I'm a disabled vet. My wife said probably real disabled, but that's another story. But I call the VA all the time because they tell you to call it. And first words you get on the phone is, well, you know, it's COVID, so we're having a hard time keeping up with calling. Now, COVID's been over with the president told us 2 years. So it's the same thing here. COVID's over.
Yeah, we're just saying the only thing is supply. I mean, other people are giving us that excuse as to why they can't get us
And
things.
one other, Steve, this your night. And I always call Steve, he'll tell you, I call him all the time, probably much every other day. Duke, 6 years I have been asking for the south part of town, his area. 6 years I've asked you to have Duke put those lights up. It's a quarter of a mile. There's poles there. we still ain't got lights on them poles for those citizens. And they are living in some of the most expensive houses, not because it's expensive about getting the lights, but they deserve the lights. For 6 years, I've been asking for that, and there is no lights there.
Is that McGuire, Mayor?
McGuire. Yeah, if you go past Robeson Road, past the little development area, then it's no lights.
We'll see if we can find someone to push that along. Our government representative is left. She's not there anymore,
Yeah.
Kari. So we don't have one. We don't know who the government
I mean,
rep is there right now.
It gets embarrassing,
So-
and this is going to be it. It gets embarrassing when you talk to citizens and you tell them this stuff and I've done it I keep telling them, and I try to believe in myself and believe in what we're doing, but sooner or later, it gets where they're going to want to hear you. So I'm just asking you that there's got to be and Duke, they're plenty enough putting poles up everywhere. If you go right around, that's all they're doing is putting poles up.
Mayor, a year ago, the city entered into a contract with Duke to upgrade all our street lighting to LEDs. They've just finished a complete analysis, find out how many lights are actually out there, what we haven't been charged for, what should we be charged for. We met with them 2 weeks ago, and they showed us that, hey, we've got everything completed on that. We can start changing out the lights, and part of the discussion was the McGuire, because we were holding off so they could put the LEDs up.
Yeah.
And that is supposed to be part of that,
Yeah.
to extend it down south of Roberson.
And, well, I said one more. I've said one, I'm going to tell you one more. This is county. Everybody in here drives, you go to Clear Corner Road, you go to Clark Road, to Clear Corner Road. We did that beautiful intersection, the county, and you have no turn arrow. It is backed up for 2 miles every day.
Yep.
Backed up 2 miles because of no turn arrow. Who does the turn arrow? I've asked about it. Remember, I called you.
Are you referring to Clark?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Clark and-
that'll be resolved with the 4-laning. It's all
Can't
designed.
wait. They can put a turn arrow in the turn arrow. Huh?
Northbound turning left.
Just a red light. There's no red light. And they wonder why they got a problem at Clark Road and Clear Corner Road. There's no turnout. So they're all running out there to try to get out in the road. That's why they keep having wrecks.
We need the other lane.
And
We really do.
One more real quick. Right here in front of City Hall, we're gonna get through early tonight anyway. Right here in front of City Hall, go to Blueford Avenue there in the afternoon. You cannot get across Silver Star Road to turn left and go back up the other way, west, because we have no turn arrow there. Never been one. We got a turn lane, but no arrow.
It is the state's traffic signal, and they did
We
a
got it,
traffic
all of them
study.
like I do, call them you.
We
Call
do.
them and tell them.
Steve, didn't they do a study there for the?
But they haven't
signal?
given us the results yet.
Okay, I think we requested that, Mayor.
We did.
We did request that one
Huh?
we did request that one for Silver
They ain't
Star
done
and
it.
Blueford.
I feel,
I got my own.
we got the problem because when school gets out,
Yeah.
they're backed all the way down to past the firehouse and all the way up to here. Okay, all right, I'm done with that. Now we can go to the first reading of ordinances. None of those. Second reading of ordinance, public hearing. You want to read it?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and read this is the second reading of ordinance for 911 Marshall Farms Road. This is the annexation ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately 2.22 acres located at 911 Marshall Farms Road on the east side of Marshall Farms Road, beginning approximately 1,040 feet north of State Road 50 pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, and the Joint Planning Area Agreement, providing for and authorizing the official, providing for and authorizing the update of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, and providing for an effective date. And we have a rezoning ordinance also. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County A1 Citrus Rural District to City of Ocoee C2 Community Commercial District and unclassified district on certain real property containing approximately 2.22 acres located at 911 Marshall Farms Road on the east side of Marshall Farms Road, beginning approximately 1,040 feet north of State Road 50 pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Our zoning manager, Ms. Whitfield.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is a project number AX01-2301 and a rezoning for 911 Marshall Farms Road. It's an annexation and rezoning from Orange County to City of Ocoee and County A1 to City C2, Community Commercial District. The property is located on the east side of Marshall Farms Road. It's about a little over 1,000 feet north of State Road 50. It's just under 2¼ acres in size, and is eligible for annexation in accordance with our JPA agreement with the county. Because it's adjacent to city properties, it's eligible for water and sewer service, and it reduces an existing enclave. It's also inside of the city's CRA, the Community Redevelopment Area, as well as our Ocoee Study Area. So this is an aerial of the property. This is the surrounding zoning. So it's essentially surrounded by commercial zoning. And then this is the future land use map. Note the green there is also green here. And this map shows the Ocoee Study Area. The red boundary is the CRA on this larger map. That is our CRA boundary. And then this is a zoom in of the property. And what you see here in green is designated conservation and wetlands area that has to remain protected in accordance with our stipulated settlement agreement between the city and the state of Florida. The reason for the annexation is so that they can have access to city utilities. The county does not provide utilities in this area, so they have to come into the city. And what the applicant is wanting to do is build an office or a headquarter for their truck hauling business. It would be no truck hauling business at the site, is essentially their headquarters. They're also wanting to build one service bay just to service their fleet. It will be a private bay, not open to the public. And this is a zoom in of the site. As I mentioned, it's just about 2,600 square feet. It has parking for their staff. This is not what we are reviewing now. This is just conceptually what they'd like to do. The site would still need to be engineered at the time of site plan review. So the DRC and PCC recommended approval of the annexation and rezoning subject to a condition, and that condition is that the C2 zoning only applies to the front 325 feet western side of the portion, and preserving the remainder of the 2¼ acres portion as conservation in order to comply with our agreement with the state and to protect that environmentally sensitive area. And with that, staff is recommending that the commission approves the annexation and rezoning to bring the property into the city and rezone it from county citrus rural to city commercial for 911 Marshall Farms Road, with the condition that the rezoning to C2 only applies to the front 325 feet and saving the remainder and classifying it as unclassified because we don't have a conservation zoning classification. Consistent with the future land use and the future land use element and our Ocoee study area requirements. And the applicants are here, Mayor, in the back corner of the room. That concludes my presentation.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody in the public have any comments to item 13, second reading of ordinance for 911 Marshall Farms Road and also the annexation? Anybody have any comments from the audience? No comments? We'll move it back to the dais. Any comments up here before we make a motion? No comments? I need a motion.
We need two motions. The first.
I know. We're going to do the.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the annexation.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner First or seconded by Commissioner Wilson for the annexation. Any more comments? If not, let's vote.
There you go.
Motion carries unanimously. All right. Now I need a motion for rezoning.
I'll make a motion for rezoning of the property.
Motion made by Commissioner Ferschner for rezoning. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Mr. Hart, Commissioner Hart.
Second. I got to remember, I got somebody down here. All right, any more comments? Not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you. All right, okay, you're in the next one too, so we're on number 14, second reading of orders for 413 Whittier Avenue, Bad Am Temple Incorporated, property annexation and rezoning. You want to read it
Yeah,
first?
let me go ahead and read these. The annexation ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately .16 acres located on the east side of Whittier Avenue, beginning approximately 325 feet north of State Road 438, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, and the Joint Planning Area Agreement, providing for and authorizing the update of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, and providing for an effective date. And the rezoning ordinance is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County R1, Single-Family Residential District, to City of Ocoee R1, Single-Family Dwelling District, on certain real property containing approximately .16 acres located on the east side of Whittier Avenue, beginning approximately 325 feet north of State Road 438, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
All right. Ms. Whitfield?
Thank you. 413 Whittier Avenue, the Pat and Tim property, annexation and rezoning from Orange County to the city, rezoning from R1 single family in the county to R1 single family in the city. As the attorney mentioned, it's on the east side of Whittier Avenue, about 325 feet north of Silver Star, 0.16 acres in size. Like the previous application, they are eligible for annexation because of its proximity to the city. It's eligible for water service, and it reduces the enclave in the city. It's also consistent with the JPA, Joint Planning Area Agreement, future land use map of low-density residential. This is an aerial of the property. The surrounding zoning is adjacent to the city on the east and the south. Surrounding future land use, all residential with professional office on the south. DRC and PZC recommended approval with no conditions, and staff is also recommending that the commission adopts the annexation to bring it into the city and rezone it to City R1 for 413 Whittier Avenue. And the applicant is also here, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing. If the applicant needs to speak, you don't have to, but if you want to.
They don't have.
No comments? All right. We'll close it and bring it back to the dais and for motion. I need a motion for the annexation first.
I'll make that motion for the annexation.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Kennedy for annexation. No more comments? Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, I need a motion for rezoning.
I'll be happy to make that motion.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second for rezoning?
I'll second it, down here.
Seconded by Commissioner Dillard. All right, no more comments? Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. I just want to make a comment about that. I know the ladies, I got a pleasure of getting to meet this young lady and her staff and her people. It was a wonderful time, and if you get a chance, and I don't think they'd mind, you need to go by and visit that place. It is amazing. Bless you. Thank you.
And welcome to District 2.
Yeah, you need to go by. You
Right
been
here,
there?
yes, and we've chatted on
Yeah.
the phone, so yeah.
Great, thank you. All right. Public hearings under number 15, first reading and public hearing of a resolution creating the Ocoee Northwest Brownfield Area. Development Service Director Ruber.
Mayor, this is the first reading
By statute, this resolution has to be read twice with a public hearing. This is the first reading and public hearing in order to create the northwest area, the Ocoee Northwest area brownfield. This would be the area of the Chevron property and the property the city owns, 36 acres south of that. This is the first step in creating the brownfield overlay, which allows a lot of statutory provisions and city provisions with future development. And we'll have a second reading, public hearing later on. We can go in depth if you need to, sir.
This is the second reading, isn't it? No, first reading.
It's first reading, public
All
hearing.
right, you need to read.
Yeah, so this is a resolution of the City of Ocoee, Florida, creating the Ocoee Northwest Brownfield area for the purpose of environmental remediation, rehabilitation, and economic redevelopment, authorizing the city clerk to notify the Florida Department of Environmental Protection of said designation as required, and providing an effective date.
So we don't need to open this.
That's it. No,
So it'll be, the second reading will be,
we do have to have a public hearing.
Yeah, you got to open it. It is a public hearing.
I'm going to open to the public. Anybody have any comments on item 15? First reading, public hearing, the resolution creating the Ocoee Northwest Brownfield area. No comments? I'll close it, bring it back to the dais.
Nothing, no
Nothing
action.
tonight, first reading. We're going to move to number 16. Adoption of resolution increasing rates for solid waste residential service. Public Works Director Krug.
Mayor, Commissioners, in September, during the budget process, the commission approved adding a liaison for the sanitation department to deal with the solid waste issues we were experiencing on residential side, mostly for yard waste. We have added that person. They are definitely making headway in improving the process. As part of that, it was voted to increase the monthly service fee on the sanitation by $1.25 per residence. And this is requesting, or a public hearing to proceed forth with the resolution, which will add it on to next year's taxes, non-ad valorem tax.
All right, I'm going to open it to the public. Anybody in the public have any comments to the item 16, adoption of resolution increasing rates for solid waste residential service? Make sure you fill out another form, too. Okay. 3 minutes. Yeah, you can get 5 minutes.
I don't know, I'm not sure.
You can get 5 minutes for this, Mr. Moyer. That don't mean you got to take it, though.
Jim Warrior, Arden Park. Taking a couple seconds, Mr. Mayor. I just want to know what's in the solid waste fund at this point in time.
As far as
Monetarily, how much money is in there now?
You ought to talk at the mic.
I understand. We're actually right now operating in the red. There were some costs before the city contracted out the work. Right now, what we're charging versus paying, we're to the contractor is a cash positive, but we're also working to reduce the amount of, I think it was deficit that we had on that from when we were self-performing the work and the rates had not increased. The exact dollar, I don't have you, but we could get you that.
Yeah, we can pull public records through the finance department and get it. All right? All right, no more, anybody in the public? I'll close the public, bring it up to the dais. We have to vote on this one.
Yeah, let me go ahead and read the title to this.
Then we'll vote.
This is a resolution of the City of Ocoee, Florida, increasing rates for solid waste residential curbside, garbage, recycling, yard, and bulk waste services, repealing resolutions or portions of resolutions inconsistent therewith, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right. We can, if no conversation, we need to vote. No?
I want to say something,
All right.
please.
Commissioner Wilson.
I have said this so many times that I did not, don't laugh, Rob. He's heard this from me many times. But I voted against privatizing. I saw that happen here in the city multiple times. I was against it. It passed. So again, I have to support my commission when they make those choices, even though I may not agree with them. But I know that, I guess I'm going to vote yes for this only because I believe that we have got ourselves in a situation with yard waste that our residents are having such issues with it, especially now the leaves are falling or they have fallen, and This is probably the first time since we've privatized it, I did not get the calls from folks saying that their bags weren't being picked up, which was positive. I'm sorry to have to vote to increase $1.25, but I believe that I need to ensure that our residents have someone to talk to, and hopefully to be a sounding board between them and the collection company. It's been a tough time. You know, we had, as Rob refers to it, a Cadillac service, which I agree with him, and they picked up everything.
Yep.
Everything. And then we go to where our current company is living by the ordinance. Like, we live by the charter, they're living by the ordinance. But I don't think any of us really knew what the ordinance meant. 4x4 by 6, I think, about the size of a pickup truck? The
Yes.
bed of a pickup truck, am I correct?
4 cubic yards.
And I'm sure we all know how to measure 4 cubic yards.
All right.
So I just wanted to state that because, again, I'm hoping that this person will be the intermediary between them, for us, between the residents and the collection company.
The current supervisor was actually part of our sanitation team when it disbanded, and he's pretty much, we brought him back into our department, and he's taken the lead on it, very proactive. He saw some ways to improve it, and working with them, and the calls even to our office have been reduced tremendously.
All right, I want to make a comment on that. I was one of the ones that voted the other way. Four of us did, but I will tell you, nobody wanted to raise the citizens' rates back then. And there was a reason, because they were going to raise the rates. So you got to expect 2 years later, 3 years later, the rates are going to raise up. $1.25 is not a month, it's not a lot of money. But it has to be done because, yes, we used to pick up everything that was, if you tore a house down and put it outside the road with the neighbor's house, they'd pick it up. But things have to change. And one of the things was, back then, nobody wanted to raise the rates, to up the rates where we could keep doing what we were doing. But now, with this new system, if we have this guy that'll do what he's supposed to do and watch what they're doing and have it picked up, but we also or educate what people put out and how they put it out. But I don't think that'll work because it never does. But I mean, you wouldn't believe the stuff that gets put outside the road. And so that's all I'm not trying to make excuses for what we did. We tried something that didn't work. It is working. They do our garbage collection, and they do a wonderful job with the garbage collection. But this solid waste thing is another story altogether. All right, that was it. So anybody else want to make a comment? If not, we need a motion.
Well, as someone that at my house takes the trash out for the past 29 years, we did have Cadillac service, and I was one who had to haul it back in when they didn't take it. People will pay for certain things. I don't like taxes, I don't like increases, but this is necessary.
Yep.
Because this is one of the things I call quality of life, and without that, we can't have the quality of life we want, so I'm for it.
Maybe. All right, anybody else? All right, did we have a motion on that yet? No, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the rate increase as suggested.
Commissioner Dillard made a motion to accept. Hart.
Guy down here.
What'd I call you? What'd I call you? Miller. Sorry about that.
Don't forget me.
Who seconded? Who seconded?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Kennedy. All right, no more comments? Let's vote. Woo. Motion carries unanimously. Commissioner Hart making the motion. All right, we go into the regular agenda. Approval of commission liaisons to various boards. Is there a way to put that off for 2 weeks? Can we put that off for 2 weeks?
That's not required by the charter, that one, so.
Is everybody okay with
certainly do
that?
that.
That's okay. We'll put that off for 2 weeks. And approval to appoint the mayor pro tem.
That one is required by the charter.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I know we got a certain requirement. I would like, who's the mayor pro tem? You?
Yes.
Here, take that thing. I know Commissioner, I would make a motion that Commissioner Wilson would be the mayor pro tem this coming year. we have the vacancy will be on that end, and I know Commissioner Kennedy would be a good one, but he just got here, so I'd like him to wait maybe next year. But I would make a motion to put Commissioner Wilson as the mayor pro tem.
We have a motion for Commissioner Wilson as mayor pro tem. Do we have a second?
Second down here.
Second by Commissioner Hart. No other comments? Let's vote.
Do I get to vote for myself?
Yeah, you better. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right. Discussion of agenda format for city commission meetings. City Manager Frank.
Yes, Mayor. You'll recall you had a discussion with me, and I advised you to go ahead and get this on the agenda. I know you had some administrative and changes that you wanted to do to look at the different portions of the agenda, such as comments from the public and things that we've done in the past that we've changed over the past few years. So I guess if you want to present some of your changes to the rest of the commission, I think you could go ahead by vote or consensus. We could put those in place.
What I'd like to do is have one public hearing at the first of the meeting, and at the first, before we have the consent agenda. And the second thing would be to do away with the 10-minute deal and put a 3-minute limit on the comments at the end by commissioners.
I might need more than 3 minutes tonight.
Huh?
I might need
Well,
more than 3 minutes.
you still learned the old rules.
Oh.
So is consensus okay? Do we do that, or we need to vote on it?
Let's vote on that.
Let's vote on
How
it.
about we go to 5 minutes at the end?
Well, then you right back, huh?
Well, 5.
All right.
If you don't
You
mind.
long talkers.
No, but I mean,
All
half
right,
the time
I don't
we
have a
can
problem.
use it, but it's when that 3-minute
Yeah.
clock starts going.
All right, 5 minutes. Motion is 5 minutes.
So the first one was to do the comments from citizens
One comment.
at the
second.
start of the meeting.
At the first, but right
Correct.
before the consent agenda.
Right.
All right? Because if there's issues during each discussion of the projects, they get to talk. So, all right. That, we need to vote separately?
Let's do them separately.
All right. I'm not, you got the hammer down there.
No, you got it back.
She's got it.
But you got to finish
Back
it.
to you.
You got to finish it.
He was only on. It's
his agenda.
It's,
I'm
oh,
gonna
it's
let
your
it-
agenda.
Yeah,
Okay. Is there a motion on the floor?
yeah, I made a motion.
Motion was to hold public comments before the consent agenda and remove from the future agenda comments from citizens at the end of the meeting.
Okay, motion made by Mayor Johnson. Do I hear a second? Second by Commissioner Kennedy. No other discussion? Let's vote.
The second motion was to limit the city commission comments from 10 minutes to 5 minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
Commissioner Wilson makes the motion. Mayor Johnson seconds it. Any other discussion? Let's vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
The third part,
It's the third part.
There's?
Yeah, the third
to
part.
eliminate
The 10 minutes, the 10 minute,
the TV.
the 10 minutes at the end of the meeting where we can
We
get to
just voted
speak. No, we voted on the,
Limit commissioner
limit comments to 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes. But remember, we have the one issue that, I think it's what's on.
After we adjourn.
After we adjourn.
Oh,
we were given 10
that's not
minutes
on mine. So you make that motion?
There it is.
You
Okay.
make that motion.
I'll make it.
All right.
Where is it?
I'd like to make a motion to eliminate city commission announcements following the adjournment of the city commission meeting.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Kennedy.
What does that mean?
Seconded by Commissioner
Make a comment.
Hart.
There you go.
Any more discussion?
Oh, and may I amend that motion? And to make the other rules, all these rules go into effect at the next commission
next
meeting.
commission.
Next commission meeting.
Thank you.
Second
Okay.
again.
Let's vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right. Now, I have no other slips from We still have comments from citizens on this one, but I have no slips, so there's no comments. If you come up, you have to fill a form out. All right?
So I just have a question on the oh, sorry. My name is Nate Robertson. I live at 1854 Black Maple Place in Arden Park North. So my question goes back to discussion that was happening regarding the special election. And that question has to do with, in the city charter, we do have in Article 7, which talks about nominations and elections, it sets that the election for District 4 would be every 4 years starting in March of 2021. So if we delay, right, if we delay filling the vacancy for District 4 until March of 2024, which is a presidential election primary, are we then going to do another election for District 4 1 year from that time?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be a 4-year term from the date of that?
1 year.
Where in the charter does it say that that would happen?
Yeah, I think the intent would be that we would not have the special election next month, but that special election would be as part of the election in March, and that person elected would fill the remaining term.
So it would still be a special election. We're just moving the special election date to the date that is within
Yeah,
the 12-month period.
It's not a special election. We would not hold the special election, but we would hold the interim election as part of the general election in March.
So I guess I'm just bringing it up as a concern, that it seems like that becomes even more inconsistent with what I believe the plain reading of the charter is, that it does say if there is not a general city election within 12 months of the vacancy, that there should be the special election. So
That's why we're going to get some.
well, so my question, I guess, becomes further, right? Like we've already done the announcements of when the election would be. We've already done all of the work with the county supervisor of elections office. All of the schedules are in place. Everything has already been set up that the election would be on June 13th. That was decided a couple months ago. Now, literally 3 days before qualifying opens, we're going to now say that the city charter is not plain in saying if there's not a general city election within 12 months, that there should be a special election. Obviously, you guys know that I am a candidate that will be in this election. I'm very concerned about this change all of a sudden. That seems very odd to me all of a sudden. And if there is a question regarding the cost of the election, have we not already spent or allocated money towards the election for the advertising of the election? So then are we then going to have to spend any money that's already been spent again for the March of 24 election? So I think that those are my comments. Any questions?
Anybody want to discuss it? You want to discuss it?
No. I agree.
Okay. And honestly, I've had several discussions with the city clerk's office to this effect, where it was very clear previous to tonight what the direction was of how this election would be handled. I also think that if we are making a decision, if you all are making a decision in 2 weeks, then if the decision is made on May 2nd, that the election will still be held on June 13th, that shortens the window for campaigning significantly. I mean, I am campaigning, but it's just a very interesting.
You can campaign after April the 21st. You can campaign after April the 21st.
Sure, and I will continue. I filed in January. I'll continue to campaign, but it's just very interesting, just the scenario that I think that we're in.
Well,
and then
I've never been into that position.
Okay.
Truthfully. So we're going to try to get a legal answer out of it, but I would go ahead and make sure you sign up like we talked about. And
yeah, everything's in motion, and that will happen on Friday.
That might not change anyway, so.
Okay.
I mean, I think we're in a predicament we shouldn't have been in, but that's my own opinion, but.
I just think that my concern is back to what Commissioner Wilson said earlier tonight.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that we're trying to make some manipulations almost to the charter when we should just be using the charter as the charter is. And right now, the way the charter says general city election, which would mean in a plain reading, I believe, general or city or municipal election. So it says general city election.
But
That would mean to me general municipal.
time's up, but I don't know if there's anybody's trying to manipulate anything, Nate. I mean, I'm just telling you, somebody's got to get a regular answer, a straight answer out of what that charter is. You read it one way, somebody else reads it another way. So it's no manipulations in it, but it's got to be solved.
I didn't mean that in a negative way, just
Well,
meaning
it
like.
sounds negative.
No. What I'm saying is, if we have to live by the charter.
I know.
And so I'm just asking, are we sure that we're living by the charter at this point?
That's what we want to find out.
Okay. The other question I have, just very briefly, is in the consent agenda, it was approved about the election services contract. Should that have been pulled out since we have a question regarding if we're having an election on June 13th? And I don't know if you guys can go back and,
$10,000?
so yeah, item 2, which talks about the $10,000 to $18,000 that was in the packet. Should that item have been taken out of the consent agenda?
That just authorizes the funding. That
Okay.
doesn't
That was just a
require us to
clarification.
pay anything. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
I have a comment.
Rather have it in there than
May I
not
make a
do.
comment?
Yeah.
I think you make a fair point, but I have an issue when someone says to me, as you do, and I agree with you, I want to rely on the plain reading.
Sure.
I'm 100% for that. And the plain reading says a general city election. And then we say, and what that means is,
Sure.
and we use some other words. That's not plain reading. That's interpretation. And I don't want to go there without counsel and advice on what the proper thing to do. I think, obviously someone could challenge it in the other direction than you're implying. And all I'm asking for is not to be saying, well, what that means is, and relying on, I don't believe you're a lawyer, I don't know. I'm not. I want advice that we can rely on. That's what I want. Thank you.
All right, anybody else got any comments? All right, comments from commissioners. Commissioner Hart?
Oh, okay, all right.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. Come on up. Hold off, Commissioner Hart.
No problem.
Thank you. I've never done this, so I don't know, I just did this randomly. So I want to go back to just 2 questions and really quick regarding to follow you as far as District 4. I'm a resident of District 4, so I guess I don't comprehend exactly what's going to happen if we were to extend it for next year, but I'd like to know, in this absence of not having a commissioner represent us, how are we represented right now? So this is, I didn't know, so I apologize. I was late in the game, so you're representing us interim?
Yes, ma'am.
You
Okay.
have to give your name.
I apologize. Fannie McTavish.
Okay.
Okay. So in moving forward, if I needed to contact a commissioner and I call City of Ocoee, I would be directed to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, nice to meet you. Number 2, regarding sanitation, I want to go ahead and point out, as an example, this last storm that we had. I live in a gated community, so we always have challenges as far as getting sanitation in because we're private and it's our problem and all this. And we handled it. This last time, we really had a problem, and Mayor, he really helped us a lot, and he was very outspoken because I was trying to reach our prior commissioner, and some of our homeowners were trying to reach it, and we had nothing. So Mayor Rusty, he helped us in all that, but as well, I got to meet Deshaun from the sanitation company, and that, I just want to put it on record, that guy is amazing. I don't know who you guys are talking about, a liaison. I don't know who it is, but I hope it's him, because that man is, I call him Batman. And I call him Batman because
Yeah.
he is, and his team calls him Batman.
He's the liaison on the contractor side, and then we have one on our side, and they seem to be getting along pretty well.
That guy is amazing. He is not only, I think he's a residential supervisor, I believe. I don't know his title, and I apologize. I wish I knew his last name if I knew I was going to talk. But if it wasn't for him, that man is hands-on. I have his phone number on my cell. I'm part of the HOA. I'm vice president. So it took it upon myself to be able to handle this last issue that we had with sanitation, and he's been amazing. But I also wanted to inquire, because I know sanitation, it's being taken by them. We also have code enforcement. And code enforcement, City of Ocoee, I know they're kind of aligned with, we enforce their codes as far as sanitation is concerned. I know that you guys are now kind of trying to work that liaison and stuff like that, but if I can maybe advise or recommend that maybe they work together, because I always have to call code enforcement and I always have to call sanitation. And I feel like I'm kind of a liaison in that regard to try to get something done in our community. So if maybe communication would be something that can be enforced, or maybe we have no communication. If it wasn't for someone calling, this is how we find out.
Yeah, if you want to give me a call in the office, and maybe you can give me specific examples, but they do, as far as I know, they work together pretty well, and there's a lot of back and forth between them. Every time we come up with a good process to do something, the state legislature goes and makes a law that makes that illegal now. And one of the things in code enforcement is we have to have an actual complainant and an address and a phone number now, and a lot of people don't want to do that. So we do the best we can, staying within the guidelines of the law. But if there's specific examples, why don't you give me a call? And,
Okay, thank
okay?
you.
All right.
Done, thank you.
Thank you. We'll start that again. Commissioner Hart.
Thank you, Mayor. And once again, thank you for the opportunity to serve my community. I am a resident of Arden Park South. I've lived there for the past 5 years. Before that, I lived 24 years over in Silver Bend, so I've been in Ocoee for a while. Believe it or not, in 1996, my uncle, Lewis F. Hart, who was the city commissioner in the city of Groveland from 1974 to 2002, he and my wife have been trying to get me in this seat. It's obvious my wife is a praying woman, because here I sit. But it is amazing to me the path that one travels. I grew up here in Orlando. I was born and raised here. I drove by with my dad when I was a young boy, driving out to the orange groves in Claremont, picking oranges on my young days. I never imagined I would live in this city. I never imagined I'd have the opportunities that have come to me in this city. I'm living proof that the American dream works and dreams do come true. I say that to encourage my young people. You can do it. Success begins with 2 words: I can. So I encourage you to do the very best you can in life. Get a good education. That once you get education, they can't take it away from you. Work every day to earn the trust and respect of the people around you. That's my plan, to work every day to earn the trust and respect of the people of District 4, the people that sit on this desk. And day number 2, I'll work even harder to try to maintain that. So once again, I'm here to serve you to the best of my ability. How long that is, whether it's 4 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it is, I want to do my best. I put my hand to the plow to try to serve my community. And I thank you for the opportunity. And once again, this just a reminder, my mother was a teacher, my wife's a teacher, so education is a big thing. My wife teaches at Ocoee Elementary. My mother taught for numerous years at Citrus Elementary. Education is so important, but this month is Child Abuse Month. We are our brothers and sisters' keepers. If you see something, say something. Amen. So many times things happen and somebody said, well, I thought. Look, just pick up the phone. It's anonymous. Please take care of our children. God bless you, and thank you for our police services, and thank you for our healthcare workers doing a great job taking care of us. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Forster.
Just want to say welcome to Commissioner Hart.
Thank you, sir.
A few things going on in the community this coming week. Fire department is having an open house this coming Saturday, 4/22. It's going to be at the main fire station from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's been a very well-attended function, and we'd like to see everybody come out. Food, games for the kids. They get to see different things with fire trucks and all. It's really worthwhile. Yeah. Second is Cinco de Mayo block party right out here in downtown. And yes, it's on the 5th of May. It'll be between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Come on down for music and food. And the last one is Take Back Day, which will be the disposal of your prescription drugs from home, the ones that aren't being used anymore, the leftover drugs. Clean out your medicine cabinets, bring them to the police department. It'll be this Saturday as well from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can drop them off there, clean out your cabinets and everything, and get them out of the reach of small children and all. And I have one question. Do we have any dates or anything, any plans for opening back up the HRDB for applications?
Well, we can start working on it now. We got the other commissioner here too, so.
That's what we were waiting for?
Yeah, we can bring that up in the next meeting.
Okay, I'd like to do that
Yeah,
next meeting.
Okay.
That's all.
You sure you don't have one more
No, no,
about,
no.
you've done all my stuff.
You must have got your folder.
Oh, yeah,
Community picnic.
the community picnic. I forgot about that. Down at Freedom Park. What day?
May the 20th,
May
2023,
May the 20th.
11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
That's next month. That's why I left it off.
Got to say something.
All right, good job. Commissioner Wilson.
I don't know if you really want to talk to me right now. I'm going to take mine probably 10 minutes. Glad I got that in before we changed it. First of all, Mr. Moyer, thank you so much for putting your name out there, for being willing to serve as the commission. I appreciate that. And I have to say, every time we talk, I learn more about you and your from your resume, I was very impressed. So, thank you. But I will differ with you on one thing regarding audits. I know you spoke about audits up here many times, but first of all, I feel the cost versus the return is not there. And I think, again, we have a healthy reserve fund, and which shows that we are in a sound financial situation, which I think, Rob, I thank you and your staff for that. So again,
Thank you.
I wanted to get my opinion about audits out there. Now I'm going to talk about something else that, again, part of it came up when we talked about charter review. There's some things that we as a commission have had no limits put on ourselves. Only personal limits. And I can speak for myself because I'm very frugal when it comes to me going somewhere or going on a trip regarding the city. I don't know if I want to call it a trip. But when I go somewhere, I'm very frugal. But I don't think we've actually had any personal limits put on us. And so now I think the time for us to avoid any ethical lapses in judgment, and that's my opinion. So I'm now, I never imagined this would come to be and this would come to happen, but I think we need to address it. I know the camera can't pick it up, but we received flyers during the last election, that most of us received them, and eyes were open. My eyes were open. And I'm pleased to say that I guess my District 2, I guess over this period of time, was less than some of the other districts of what I spent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's time for us to address travel, set limits. This is not a vacation for us. We're going somewhere, we're going for a destination, for a purpose. We should have a limit.
Yep.
And I think this is our time to put limits on ourselves. And I think it's, I have always done that, but there never has been anything written. And I guess we're looking at it now that we want to have all this stuff written. Well, I guess we have to. That's my answer. So I feel as though we have to set a limit as to how much travel, what is our budget? Anything above that, if there's something you want to go to, that you come back and speak before the commission. Everyone wants us to be transparent. Well, that's transparent. I think you have a right to know when we go somewhere representing the city. I just came back from Tallahassee. I spent 3 days there. That's not exactly my moment of enjoyment. But the city paid for one meal for me. I think I signed something today, it was about $13. It kills me to pay that money for a hotel, but when you're going during an event, the hotels are always pricey.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we need to look at that, set our limits. The other thing is meals. We have no limit set on us for meals. I could go out and have a $40 and $50 dinner if I wanted. Would I? No. But we do not have those limits put on us. And I think it's time for us as a commission to expect the same thing that's expected of a city employee. If it's a per diem, so much a meal, then we live by that. I'm very pleased that we got rid of that spouse program. I will tell you, my husband never went on the city dollar anywhere with us. But we had the option to do that. I had the option to take my husband at your expense, the airfare, food. To me, it was just a personal opinion. Personal thing, we never did that. When he went with me somewhere, our personal charge card came out. And I'm not saying I'm any angel by any means, but I'm just saying is that I put personal limits on myself with your tax dollars. And I think it's time that we as a commission put those limits on ourselves. So I'm asking for, that's number 2, per diem. Then we have a third item, which is this discretionary fund. Is Rob putting his head down like this for me? The discretionary fund. We get $10,000, or we have in the last so many budget years, to use as we feel appropriate. I can tell you that, you know those speed signs that tell you you're going too fast? I bought those. Those are $5,000 each. Okay, I think I bought 4 of them. And I bought some item for the police department for one of the schools, for the police department to have shields. But I think we need to have some definite lines put down on us as commissioners as to what we're going to use those for. Something came up during this last election that I don't believe we should use it for the personal benefit of folks. One was used, I was told, to help someone with their septic system. Well, when you help one, you have to help all. And I don't believe we should do that with a discretionary fund. So I personally feel that we need to set limits. I'd like to ask the city manager's office to craft some suggestions for us to come back to us as a commission, and maybe based on some policies of other cities or policies that we have for our employees. I'm no different than, well, I'm not an employee, but I'm your employee as the residents, okay? You employ me. But it's the point that we should not have an open-ended expense account. So I'm asking the commission to ask the city manager's office to craft some suggestion policies based on maybe what he might find from other cities or what they may have knowledge they know, and bring that back to us. So again, I did that in 6 minutes? Okay. Is that something that, I'm just asking, Mayor, is that something the commission could look at those?
Well, I don't have a problem with it, because I'm the one that brought up the motion to take out the spouse stuff. That was put in a long time ago. I put the motion to do that, and we did that. I think we can do all this during the budget process, starting in July. We can work on those projects and give them plenty of time to come up with the answers, and then we start with the July.
I think that would be for the travel, but what I'd like them to work on something regarding.
Discretionary?
The discretionary
Well-
fund, some limits that we could put on, we need to put limits on ourselves.
But
I like the
limit-
discretionary fund, so please don't talk about taking it
Let me-
away.
I'm not gonna get into a big discussion about it, but you were one of the ones, and bless your heart, wanted to do that because you didn't like the money coming up in front of us all the time asking for it.
I agree.
So you brought that up to do the discretionary fund, kind of where we could do that, but it turned into some other things. Now, the discretionary fund, I didn't really care about it, but it happened, but it goes to, I have never given anything except to the citizens, to the churches or the schools. Now, instead of them coming up here and asking for it, I give it to the schools, I give it to the FFA at the school. Matter of fact, I got a letter, somebody on email a while ago wanting money for FFA at the Ocoee Middle School. So they don't get the money from the school board. The band at the Ocoee High School, I give money to them. I give Amanda Harpo.
Harpo, yeah.
I don't give money out to anybody except for that.
And
So-
that's.
But I'm just saying,
yeah.
if we want to cut that out, put it in the budget, we work on the budget. There's a couple things I want to change in the budget when we do the budget this year.
I don't want to get rid of the discretionary fund, I just want
Well-
that, I think exactly, I never liked when folks came up here and asked for money.
Yeah, I
And I
know.
think we needed to stop that, other cities don't do it.
I
But
think we
that
have
would-
to put limits on who we give it to.
And that's what I'm looking for, is
We
what
can do
limits.
that during the budget process.
But I think we need to work on it beforehand,
Oh.
because I want that in place so that we don't have these problems
No.
months, when we put, I personally want that money in the budget, but I want some parameters set.
Well, it's got to be, but it's going to take, here it is May, so July's going to be here in a couple of months. So it's going to take them time to put it together.
But ask the city manager's office if they
Yeah.
could put something together for that, and it's all gonna happen with it, but the per diem. If you're going to an event, no, I say call it an event. If you're going away on a city business, that you have breakfast, lunch, dinner, unless the program is providing it. The program I went to provided probably 3/4 of my meals.
I went to Tallahassee the same time you
Yeah.
did, and I had a meal one time.
I had,
One meal.
we probably had different programs we were in
It
that
was a
provide us.
hamburger.
Yeah, mine was a little better. I had $13. But but I'm saying is I'd like them to come back with
Whatever.
some
Yeah, I
ideas
know.
for us, because I think we work on
I
them
think everybody's
now.
got to have a conscience in the things they do. you
Well-
know? Well, you and I both know where that stuff was, but I don't know how the city, and I'm not blaming anybody for that either, but how does the city not have an override on what credit cards are, what they're being used for?
Yeah.
I'm still wearing clothing with the old emblem on it.
Well, I know, I am
And so
too.
you are too, and I have no
But-
problem doing that, but.
But I'm saying, that credit card was used more than one time. It never brought up.
But see, that's why I want to say, we have a clothing allowance, this is your clothing allowance. This is, and I hate to get so nitpicky, but it's finally has come to that point when we saw in these past years what has happened. So I would ask if the commission would allow the city manager's
Yeah.
office to craft some,
That consensus okay with everyone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Consensus, okay.
thank you, and that's all I have, thank you.
Just to clarify, for budget, or did you want to look at that beforehand, or just have that ready for the budget?
I would like to have it
workshops?
being worked on so that when we're coming to that point, that
July.
we can approve them. I mean, it's going to take you time
Okay.
to work. And again, if the commission approves, I'll be more than happy to work with the city manager on that, if that's something I
I
am.
think staff needs to figure it out.
Okay, let them.
Let the staff
don't need
work on
me.
it. All right, Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm actually going to reshuffle here. The last item, I plan to file at the end of every month a written commissioner report. That's a little different. One of the underlying issues brought up in my campaign was a lack of communication and transparency, as is discussed. And so I'm going to file a written report telling the people in District 1 what I've been doing, what I'm working on, and what's happening. At the end of my report, I address this issue. The first thing that happened to me when I came into the city for orientation and onboarding was I sat down with the executive assistant, and she told me that I had a travel and uniform budget, and there was very little money left, and that when I traveled, I got a per diem. So I'm a little confused by the discussion because I was told those things are in place. And I was also told that the discretionary funds that there was guidance and but I know it's been abused. And so one of the things that I'm doing, and it's out of order, but to get my feet under me, one of the things I'm doing, I'm attending the Citizens Public Safety Academy with the police department and the fire department. I'm 2 weeks into the first 10 weeks. It gives you an opportunity to meet the leadership and the rank and file of those departments and understand all the different functions that they provide. It's been very informative, and it's made me very proud of those departments. One of the things that the police are doing is they're working with a group called Grow Healthy Kids that collects sports balls and inspires positive interactions between cops and kids. You've all seen the Coffee with a Cop. It's basically balls with a cop. And I thought that was important. I inquired of staff, and I disclose in my written report, which I think accountability and communication goes hand in hand. I requested and made a $250 donation from my discretionary funds to the Grow Healthy Kids organization. We vetted it, spoke to the chief of police. They're working with that organization. They support what they're doing. And so if you want to go to growhealthykids.org and check them out, they're taking donations of money and sports balls if you have some you don't need. As you may recall, on March 21st, when I was sworn in, I had an action item list, it's right here in this book, of 17 items, and I immediately wrote the city manager with a list of those items, and it's now got 52 action items on it. I've worked every Friday afternoon since being elected here in City Hall, and each Friday I've met with a different department head, starting with Mike Roomer and Steve Krug. I'm meeting with Jamie Croteau of the Utilities Department this week and addressing the issues and advocating for my district. If you want to know if an issue that you're concerned about is on my list, or if you want status of one of those items, send me an email. My email is skennedy@ocoee.org, and I'll write you back. The number one issue in my district remains traffic and congestion. In speaking with staff and the experts, everyone seems to agree that the Lakewood shutdown exacerbates all other issues. And so we want to get Lakewood open and reassess the other issues, possibly do some studies. I asked for and received a written update on Lakewood. The roundabout was opened on Friday, April 7th, which is good news. And the paving up to the extension of 2nd Street is scheduled to be April 28th. This will allow access from North Lakewood to Angola or Adair and connection to Clarkona, Ocoee, which they think is going to help immediately. The Clark Road widening, as mentioned, is still waiting on the Swift mud. I've also been busy. We have advisory boards, as we talked about. We need to appoint liaisons to advisory boards, but we also need citizens. We have openings, and I've been working in my district to recruit citizens for that. I attended with the mayor and Commissioner Wilson the West Orange Babe Ruth Baseball Opening Day Parade, which was fun for me, and the West Orange Chamber of Commerce Best Fest. We have a lot of great events and activities for people of all different interests. Please get involved and either utilize them or support them. I want to also thank Mr. Moyer and Mr. Hart for their stepping forward, and I want to congratulate Commissioner Hart. I met Commissioner Hart serving on the HRDB, where Lori Hart was chair. I know he's a man of principle. I know he stands on those principles, even when he's attacked for those principles, and I'm honored to be on the commission with him.
Thank you, sir.
One of the things that's on my list that I want to do, because of my experience on the HRDB, is I want to reform it. I don't think it should be an event board. As I mentioned, we have Cinco de Mayo. We have lots of events that the city runs and runs beautifully on time and on budget. The events run by the HRDB. We're not professional event planners, and we were double the budget, the approved budget. So what I would like to do, and HRDB fulfilled its original mission. So I would like to see if we could update, modernize the mission of the HRDB. I'd like to rename it. Cities now are using the concept, it's a more modern concept of inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. We need to be focused on providing minority and women-owned businesses opportunity to be spotlighted in the city. We have many of them. I would like to reshape that board's mission and reshape the requirements of people to be on that board. I would ask for support with that. That's it for my report. My complete report will be submitted as part of the supporting documents of each meeting. And if you want to know more, you'll be able to go online and read about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
Well, there's not much more I can say. Everybody said it.
Sorry.
Ooh, I will say one thing, though. Kathy reminded me, and I looked at Kathy, Christmas parade. We need to talk about the Christmas parade and who's going to be handling that, Rob. So we need a Christmas parade. And,
Yeah.
so we need to talk to the staff. I know one is probably going to be, yes, ma'am.
I, for one, was devastated whenever we didn't have the parade because I chaired it for, golly, 35 years.
Yeah.
Kathy, do you want to be in charge?
I was just coming up to say, sir, that myself, as well as one of your staff members, Michael Halloran, have basically handled the parade for years. We'll need probably 12 to 15 people on the day of the parade for probably 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
It's work, but most of it's behind the scenes leading up to the day. And the day is just more like organization and getting people out. Like I said, I was devastated when it didn't happen. So I'm offering my services.
I think if we joined in and talked with Winter Garden too, and they have the same people going to be coming both places, we work together and come up with you guys can come up with.
We had talked
I don't want to
over the years about a joint parade, but there's
Huh?
still some rivalry.
I know,
People want their own parade.
Well, they got their own parade. I'm not saying be their parade, but it's going to be pretty much the same people.
Right.
But I know we need a parade, so.
Well, it hurts a lot of people. It's a lot of money and a lot of time to build a float and organize a float. So to have both parades on the same day, they get more bang for their buck, so to speak. So just to have the one parade, has kind of been a downer, I think, for everybody.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'd be glad to help
Yeah.
and see if Michael Halloran's still on board. Between the two of us, we can do the behind-the-scenes work.
Take the recreation department.
Yeah, it goes,
The,
definitely.
What's that group you with?
Okay. You want to stop him? It's 10 minutes?
I don't take, you're taking my time away from
Yeah, I don't want to take it. Can you stop for a second so you don't get it?
me. No, we'll work it out. We'll find it. We'll discuss
I
it.
thought that we as a commission agreed that we would do the Jolly Jamboree
I don't have a problem doing
in lieu of
that.
the parade, because the parade was in the past, the Lions Club did it, but the Lions Club said they couldn't do it any longer. But I think we received so many positive comments about the Jolly Jamboree.
I've seen a lot of comments about not having a Christmas parade. too.
Well,
And I
But
think,
it's up to the commission.
I
up to the
think
commission.
with the Jolly Jamboree last year, it was very successful.
I didn't say it
And I think if we're going to do the parade, we just need to make sure we put as much effort into the other
Well, you do the
Jolly
parade in the
Jamboree
morning or in
things.
the afternoon, and you do the Jolly Green,
Yeah.
or whatever. But-
I think a big part of
Jolly
it is
Jamboree.
Oh, Jolly Jamboree.
Kathy's volunteering too. That's a big part of it. But I think we should still continue the efforts, the other efforts we did around here, which were very successful. And if we have volunteers, I think it could be
Well,
done.
we got the youth council can also help.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King was great.
Yeah. All right, so we'll work on that. What was that? No. The Cinco de Mayo's May the 5th, this Friday. So please, everybody show up. They're talking about wanting to do a thing downtown maybe once a month. We close on, I know a town in Burleson, Texas does it, during the May to September, they have once a month, they do a closing of the streets and have some kind of music and stuff like that. So I think that's something we ought to look at doing.
Yeah.
And I know the people downtown and the businesses would enjoy it, would like it. So I think we can work on that also, maybe, and see if we can do that. You can bring in different music and different things at the thing and have them. It's really amazing because when we have that downtown, people show up.
Yeah.
We have a great crowd, so that was a good thing. And if you hadn't been down there, go down and check out places like the Toll Road Brewery and check out the Bike Life Cafe, I call it. Great things go on. So the deal about the talking about stuff earlier tonight, I apologize, but I citizens call me and citizens see me, and that's part of the deal. Everywhere you go, and they want to ask questions. I was just reading about the one real quick about the money for discretionary fund. It was about the FFA. She sent me a picture with all the FFA people up here at Ocoee Middle School, and about the money for it. And that's kind of stuff I don't have a problem giving it to, because they were going to come here and ask for it. So I don't have a problem giving it to them. I give it to the churches for activities. I give it to HAPCO. So I'll keep doing that as long as we got that fund. And but that's the only reason I would be giving it out to people. It's got to be some kind of thing that goes with the city of Ocoee. The lady up here on Heart, I was campaigning, and the little lady there has a heart thing that goes for the children for heart. So I give them $500. So that's the kind of things you got to do. And they live in Ocoee, and it's a heart. It's a 503. But that's the kind of things you got to do. You got to delve in and help do these things for these people. I think Nate, I think we can get that worked out between now and the next 2 weeks. I think there's a lot of things got to change. Our charter's not in the best shape. What it's got to be, we got to get that changed and get it fixed. Because somebody could walk in the night before the closing day of the thing and just sign up and they would just drive into town that night, and next morning they sign up to run for office. So that's got to stop. So, and I want to thank everybody in the city. I want to thank all the residents who voted in the election. I also want to tell you, out of 31,000 voters, we only had we didn't have 12%, 13% out of 31,000 people vote. So that's not a good turnout. So that happens every time when you're having an election when it's off-season. It's going to keep happening that way.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it does. So I appreciate the ones that did go out and vote and all the way we do it. So, and whatever we have to come up to and work on the budget starting in July, need to put your thought process together and let's come up with what we're going to do. But I want us to follow through when we tell citizens, the one I didn't bring up, Steve, and I can't believe you're still here. Concrete, I want to see a thing of what areas we're doing. Concrete is in areas that have to be done. We need to make sure they're in the areas that are the worst, not the newest areas. Because the citizens have been living here to have the worst part of the thing, and then we don't see them till later on down the road. We start somewhere else. So we need to sit down and go over that. And I know that's your job, but concrete pops up on these streets and somebody falls on them, we're going to get sued. So we need to make sure we fix those. So that was a big part of it. Some lady fell the other day. We put the cones out, and that's been a month. We never went back and fixed we've never been back and fixed the problem. So, but that's the things we got to do. And I really appreciate Mr. Moyer for your efforts and time that you always do with us. I appreciate it. Even though you can come up with some good things, though, Mr. Moyer, we appreciate it. There's people like you that need to be around. And Mr. Hart, I also think you're a great asset to the city, and your wife, I know that and her family, you are. And Ms. Hart was one of our nice people and one of the great workers on the diversity board, and I really appreciate your time and efforts. I know you're studying for your doctorate, so I know it's tough. So we'll take good care of Mr. Hart. Get him. I will say, it's very seldom you go out and see a man playing golf and he's starting to play and his wife's driving him around in a golf cart. Now, I run into Mr. Hart 2 or 3 times, and sure enough, his wife's driving the cart. So is she keeping your score?
Yeah, but she can't add that high. It's like, when you get that high. But I will say, the mayor, you had to be quarterback or running back or something, because I told him that my wife was down in the car. The next thing I know, he was gone. I mean, the mayor took off. I was shocked how fast he was moving. So it was good to see you, though.
But it's a pleasure to have you here. So what was it? The other thing was the schools, and I think we have to be careful with speeding because the schools get out, and I watch people come through these areas speeding, and the school, we have a lot of children that walk in Ocoee on the streets, and we have got to be careful with what goes on with these cars. We have some problems with speeders, and the chief's I don't know where the chief's at, but Rob, we need to maybe do a little more extending of that speed. One other thing before I close. Downtown, I'm going to bring it up again, and I know some of these guys and some of these people go there. We have got to put some kind of thing on that road to slow people down downtown at night. You can put those little, not speed bumps, but put the little things that make you rattle your tires when you go over them. They are coming through downtown. Huh? Rumble strips. We got to do something to slow them down because they don't slow down. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then they'll run right on through the red light. I mean, the stop sign. Mm-hmm. So we have got to come up with something, Steve, to slow that. Somebody's going to get hurt before it's over with, And so that's pretty much it. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Sorry to delay you. We appreciate it. We'll see you back on May the 2nd.
Okay, remember, we have 5 minutes next time.
Huh?
You only have 5 minutes.